And here we are. We're live.
Alright, here we are. I've been waiting to do this episode, dude. I have been so hungry to do the Black Furies.
Why is that, Mr. John?
I think this I think this is slowly becoming one of my favorite tribes.
Really?
Yeah, it's the intention for our live play that we're doing. The intention was for us to follow a tribe of Fianna as our quest givers. I think I'm going to change that to the Black Furies.
Well, we seem to be spending a lot of time with them.
Yeah, and there's probably a reason. It's because I can't stop using them.
Well, I mean, we also have picked Bacchus as our totem, so that kind of goes hand in hand at this point.
At this point, Bach is back to you. There was a third option, Crow, but we didn't take him.
Well, no, that's because Grim kicked the shit out of Jaden.
Yes. So the reason why I have my camera up for this, I'm not going to have it up for the whole episode, I just have it up for this bit. So this piece of shit arrived in the mail.
Oh, no!
If you want the digital copy, you had to get a print copy of this book. And I said shotgun in our first impressions video, and now that I have it in my hands, I'm letting it melt in my mouth, and I don't know what I want to do with this yet.
You should probably light it on fire. Just don't do it in your house.
I think so too, but that gets it over a little too quickly.
Well, no, burning is a very slow and arduous process where you can feel the pain of the writers seep through the smoke between the wood.
Yeah, it's conflagration. Is there a bookmark in this or something? What is this? What is this? Yes, there is.
There's a cool.
What is this?
You got a cool. Oh, what?
So you didn't need to do that. Alright. And now I'm looking at this in my hands, and I think every now and then maybe we went too hard with the 5e video, but no. I'm looking at this again, and we were completely justified in everything we said.
Cool.
And don't worry, I have a solution in this, but we're not going to reveal it yet.
No, not yet. Okay.
So, Kyle, I've been talking a lot with you, and Meepian eventually... we should probably address that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Got ourselves...
We have a third guy with us today who isn't Ryan.
Yes. Welcome, Meep. Because he is playing Black Fury in our game, we decided to have him on for this episode.
I also want him here because we have made it no secret, Kyle, that we lean to the right, more like the libertarian part of it.
Yeah, it's
so
right to
I
the
want
south.
I want a guy who had more leftist sentiments for this episode too, so we don't go off the rails.
Okay, yeah. I'm definitely a lefty pie, so that's
That's a new term. I actually like that term. Let's go with that. It sounds a lot
and
sweeter.
We don't have. And the girl gamer is in my Wednesday group and can't do a podcast at all.
Damn.
I wanted to see if I could have both of you on, but that's not going to be a thing. So
That
here we are, and you already started drinking. Meepian, if you have one, we're going to do it now. Here's a shot. Let's do it. Well, this is more than a shot.
All right, fine. I'm getting the cam. I'm getting the
afford.
cam up. Then I don't care. To hell with it.
Yeah, let's see it.
Some other guy.
Maybe you don't need it. All right,
You
let's
don't
do
need
it.
to turn on the cam. This is just something for us. L'chaim.
All right.
oh, you downed the whole thing.
Jesus. Well done.
It's vile.
GG Brandy. That was Watermelon Sky. Yeah. Look, I could do that with Jackie D's. I can't do that with vodka, dude.
You just gotta grit your teeth and go through it.
Basically,
I think I spat all over my camera phone too when I did that.
What a way to start the episode. We're here to talk about feminism and Werewolf. Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, I need a little... Right, we can now stop playing the song. We now start playing A Push by Sparks 20.
Yes. So here we are.
we can turn the cameras off now.
Yeah, I've got to the... I'm on to the front page, so if it is history time, then it shall be history time.
Yeah, I have a few other pages in our history stuff that we'll get to later, but...
Yes.
See. I can feel that in the back of my throat. It's like a carnival hot dog.
How does that compare to a carnival hot dog?
It's like when you eat one, like the greasy taste of it stays in the back of your throat.
That's any carny food, dude.
Yeah. So, let's begin with the etymology first. Do we remember what the Aaron yeasts are?
The
Those are like female demons.
Yes, I'm glad you know that. The Aaron yeasts is a Greek mythological figure that is the avenging woman spirit. It looks for men that have caused crimes against women. And these kind of sort of split between angel and demon women, hunt them down and kill them. And if you take their name and translate it into English, it comes out to something along the lines of Fury. Therefore, in English, they would be called the Furies. Hence why this tribe is the Black Furies. Black, typically because that's the Western symbol of death. So, this is the ferocious death force of Gaia that combines itself with feminism.
yes.
And that's the start of it. How much do we know about good old Greek mythology?
Not all that much. I know the fire of. I know that Prometheus stole the fire for the gods. I know that Aphrodite came from the blood of some other god's penis thrown into the ocean. But that's about it.
Yep. Meepian, what about you?
I certainly studied it in like elementary school, so I've got a handle on the basics.
Oh, they won't tell you this in elementary school. Have we ever read the Orestia?
Mm-mm.
No.
I might be saying that too quickly. I think it's Orestea. This is one of the longest lasting pieces of Greek literature that we have. It is a fantastic play. I am so upset with myself that I did not know that that book existed until 2 weeks ago because I've started flipping through it and thought to myself, holy crap, this is such a sophisticated and deep play. And it's great, and it certainly beats the Odyssey and the Iliad. Granted, neither of those are really tragedies, but this is fantastic. This is up there with Oedipus Rex in terms of essential Greek literature reading. That was the jockey music bot that just left.
I didn't hear it. So
And at the beginning of the Orestia, it lays out some context as to what the story is going to be. We're going to lay the context first, and then get into the history of the Black Furies.
okay.
The Oresteia, in the Oresteia, it gives the origin of life on Earth. Earth being Gaia in this case, who is synonymous with the Gaia of Werewolf the Apocalypse. She mates with the wild itself in this story called Eros, and they create all life on the planet through a union between the eternal man that is the wild and the eternal woman that is Gaia. And in doing so, they create the Titans. And there are many Titans, Prometheus, Athos, but we're going to focus on Uranus, the man with the unfortunate name, who is the head of the world. He is the strongest, he is the king of all. Through the grace of social Darwinism, nobody can dethrone Uranus. Until his son Cronus, spelled with a K, not a C, becomes of age. And when he's a teenager, he fights Uranus, wins the fight, and then forces Uranus into the depths of Gaia, his own, technically his grandmother at this point, if you see Gaia as alive, into the realm known as Tartarus. Cronus becomes the ruler of all, and all who sided with Uranus are slain or imprisoned. A few years later, Cronus decides that the one and only woman good enough of his affection and good enough to bear his children is his own sister, Rhea. And the two of them create 5 children, these being Hades, Poseidon, Demeter, Hera, and Zeus. And as the story goes, Rhea is forced to take care of the kids while Cronus rules, until Cronus starts seeing his kids reach puberty and realizes that they could do to him what he did to Uranus. So Cronus devours his children entirely. From the head to the feet, he just swallows them and keeps them in his stomach. The only one to survive this is Zeus, who Rhea creates a fake Zeus that Cronus eats. Zeus is then hidden by Rhea, a trickster in this story, who plots against her. I don't want to really say lover, and husband's pushing it a little bit too far. It's more like Cronus just decided that Rhea was going to have his kids, and she didn't get a say in it. So she plots with Zeus, and she gives him the Thunderbolt, the great equalizer of the Greeks. Zeus comes in, fights Cronus, forces him to vomit up his siblings, and then throws Cronus into the same prison that he threw Uranus. And Zeus becomes the godfather of the cosmos, as all of Greek mythology sees him as the one and only patron deity. But he immediately starts committing the same mistakes that his father did by deciding that the only woman who was worthy enough to bear his children at the time was Hera, his sister. And keep this in mind because we're going to bring up that origin myth a few times. If you're asking why the fuck is there so much incest, I guess the Greeks just had a fascination with it because it appears so much in many different Greek stories.
They thought it was so funny that they wrote a story about their whole pantheon who did it 3 times in a row.
Look at this more. He fucked his sister.
How could you not
That's not what the
know?
Greeks sound like.
No, it is not. Oh, boy. It's going to be a long episode, isn't it,
Come the early
fellas?
days
Yes.
of Neolithic men. The Black Furies, of course, were already wolves. They were half human brain, half wolf brain, and they came to a conclusion. All men are rapists. They started looking at courting rituals between man and woman back before society really formed, and they saw that it ultimately boiled down to man decides that woman is going to bear his kids, man forcibly impregnates woman, woman gives birth, man takes the children away from the woman and either kills the woman or forces the woman to take care of the kids. This is a opinion that the Black Furies have never let go of. They still see to this day that all men are rapists. And keep that in mind as we continue the story. So the Black Furies are wolf women who sympathize with other women and decide that we need to protect them. We need to take all these women that are being preyed on by men, and we need to shelter them away from the men. And if they want to have a kid, what we'll do is that we'll give the men a taste of their own medicine. We'll find a man, beat the shit out of him, drag his broken body back over to our lair, force that man to spread his legs, and then the woman will get what she wants from the man, and then we either kill the man or we force the man to take care of the kids. And it's very brutal poetic justice that the Black Furies get their
Doing to
founding in.
others.
And around this time, their totem was Luna, the moon. No other werewolf has done that. A celestial was the original totem of the Black Furies. And you also had the Gorgons. There were 5 of them. Medusa being the figurehead amongst all of them because she was sexually assaulted by Poseidon. And then after that happened, her body was transfigured into the Medusa that we know today, the half woman, half snake. I guess there's a little bit of wolf in her too because she was a Black Fury, so I guess it's half woman, half wolf, half snake. Imagine that monstrosity what you would.
I don't know. It sounds cool, though.
Fun enough, she's very freaky looking, but there's a reason why the wilds spawn, the Gorgons, are named after those 5 sisters. It's because they all look like creatures that you needed to think a minute before you could describe what they looked like. And Medusa, funny enough, is the mother of Pegasus. Don't ask me how a half wolf, half snake, half human gives birth to a winged horse. I don't know how that happens.
I mean, like we said, the wild is that there is no sense of stability in the world. Excuse me. So
I would like to do a video comparing 40K to World of Darkness, and the wild gives me serious Zinch vibes. Where if you follow the wild, if you follow Zinch, you suddenly wake up one day and you find out you have 5 right arms, no left arms, a giant snake tail, and wings. And this is
That's
what you get for following him.
that's basically what happened to Medusa. It's like, okay, I'm half woman, half wolf. I had sex with the deity of the sea, and now I'm half snake, and I can turn people into stone. And now my son is a horse. That's basically what happened to Medusa.
No, it wasn't consensual. Poseidon just decided that Medusa was going to bear his kid.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Now now the child I bore is a horse. Okay.
Yeah, and I guess the reason why is because Poseidon was also a god of horses. I never really got that connection, even when it was explained to me with Greek mythology. But
Yeah.
Poseidon's the horse god. Okay, I guess.
That's a bit of a leap, isn't it? Like the sea and horses.
I guess it's more like the beast of burden aspect to it, or travel. And the Impergium happens. The Black Furies respond with, "We don't care. We're just going to keep doing what we've been doing with these women. We're going to shelter these women." Oh, wait, hold on a minute. Let's say that again. Did you say kill humans? Can do. And they immediately start killing humans. And now, instead of letting the man take care of the kids, they just kill the man. It's the same order of business as before, but the man dies at the end of it. Not a very good way to go. And of course, you know the story. The Impergium is ended by the combined efforts of the Children of Gaia and Fianna. And the Black Furies, it doesn't faze them. They don't really care that the Impergium's over. They're just going to go back to business as usual. Come the War of Rage, once again, the Black Furies don't really care. They do have a few issues with changing breeds around the area. I think the only group they really had to worry about thinking about the changing breeds of the area, I think the only guys they had to worry about were guys who were intruding on their territory. I don't think they had a grudge against any changing breed in particular.
Given how I read about their relationships with the other beast shapes, then not really, no.
They did have a little bit of fun with a certain tribe, the Red Talons.
Yes.
A few Black Furies spoke with the Red Talons, and the Red Talons say, "Hey, you like the wild? We like the wild. Let's have some fun together." And then the Black Furies started killing some people with the Red Talons, and then realized that the Red Talons were enjoying it a little too much, and then decided, "You scare us. We don't want anything to do with you. We're going back to Greece."
That sounds about right.
And this was the end of that. This was the end of that relationship. And when the Concord happens, I guess who wasn't invited?
The Black Furies or the Red Talons?
The Black Furies. The Red Talons were there, and that's how they got their name, by stabbing the Silver Fangs in the chest with their talons. But the Black Furies didn't get to vote. And keep that in mind, because when we talk about the 1920s, that's a big deal for the Black Furies.
Yes, as it makes sense.
And come the history of ancient Greece. You may be asking, who is Zeus in this situation? They bring up Zeus, and what I think Zeus is of the pagan deities that is worshipped by the Verbena mages. And the Black Furies have a good relationship with the Verbena, but none of the Black Furies really see Zeus as a good guy, given that that man is the serial impregnator of Greek mythology.
I do remember that much.
You
from
remember going on. You remember going on Doge Lore and that whole meme of, "Oh wow, I love being a 12-year-old woman in Greece. I hope nothing crazy and uncharacteristic happens to me."
Oh, hey Zeus.
And then you see Zeus in the background.
Yep, and
Yes.
it's
That is
Scoutmaster
every
Kevin.
Greek myth summarized. Every Greek myth. You want to talk about shows where you've seen one episode and you've seen them all, like Scooby-Doo and Dukes of Hazzard? You read one Greek story, you've read them all. Somehow or another, Zeus was involved.
Well, I mean, yeah, they're god, so one of their gods. So
Next, we return to the Oresteia. You remember that story I was telling before? It turns out this play had an interquel. And in that interquel, it's about the whole story of Helen of Troy, and how Helen of Troy was so sexy it led to Achilles raging war against Greece just to get her. And they had a whole deal with Hector and Paris and everything going wrong. Yeah. Story goes on. Story actually isn't that interesting. But there was a little interquel involving the Oresteia in it, where Agamemnon, because he's given a mission of the gods, I think it's called the Iphigenia, or Iphigenia. It's called that because his daughter, who's the name of the play, he has to sacrifice to the gods in order to ensure that the Greeks will succeed in their fight with Troy. The mother of said daughter, who is one Clytemnestra, is very angry when she hears the news. The Trojan War ends, King Agamemnon returns to Athens, and he has a new wife with him, a second wife, called Cassandra. In case you heard anyone refer to themselves as a Cassandra, what that means is that there's someone who sees the future or can read a pattern and knows what's going on, but nobody listens to them. That's exactly what Cassandra does because she says, dude, your wife is about to kill you. And then Agamemnon says, no, she's not. And then what happens? Clytemnestra kills Agamemnon and Cassandra. In a very brutal manner, I might add. Kyle, would you like to guess, maybe two, what is the #1 way that women will kill people in convicted homicides?
With a knife, I imagine.
Stabbing.
Yeah.
What was Rampion's answer?
Stabbing.
Stabbing.
So that's not it. It's the men who will do a violent crime like that. Stabbing, strangulation, those kind of crimes where a man will focus on physically overpowering somebody. But a woman will try to poison somebody instead. That's the typical
okay.
go-to method whenever a woman will try to kill a man. And if you don't believe me, look up the crime statistics yourself. You'll see the pattern. And to prove this, I'm going to pull up something recent. You like Florida men, right?
Dude, I love Florida. Florida's great. I lived in Florida for a short bit.
I'm going to
We're going to get Florida woman poisons man. Let's see it.
Yep. I'm going to post it here. No, not just poisons man. I'm posting it in history pages. You can pull up the link. Florida woman poisons her boyfriend with Raid bug spray.
I guess she thought he was a pest, huh?
Yep.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help it.
And this woman wanted to kill this man with Raid.
God damn it. Son of a bitch.
So what she did is that she sprayed Raid into his drink and tried to kill him with the Raid.
This is Greek legend,
and the man
fellas.
survived. Yeah, if you want to...
God.
It kills bugs dead. Not so much humans. This is actually a good advertisement for Raid because you could say you can drink this and survive.
Yeah, but then people are going to start doing it on TikTok and it'll be a whole thing. We don't want that. We already had Tide Pods back in 2016.
The Raid challenge?
Yes, the Raid challenge.
So,
I imagine it tastes like shit.
Yeah, the Raid. Yeah,
That doesn't surprise me. It smells like shit.
It could be very sweet because, you know, the artificial sweetener acesulfame K, that was a pesticide before people decided to put it in food.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, don't drink diet soda.
I never do.
Do not drink diet soda. It will kill you. You're literally drinking a poison.
I drink regular. I drink regular soda. If I'm gonna die, I'll die of diabetes. I don't care.
Yeah. The reason why I bring up the Raid story is because Clytemnestra kills her husband and his wife with an axe.
Okay. So Meep and I were right.
Yes. In that case, back in the ancient Greek days, before we knew what the best poisons were. Now enters the character Orestes, who is the son of Agamemnon and Clytemnestra, who comes back, doesn't think what Clytemnestra did to Agamemnon was that good of a thing. The play kind of mirrors Hamlet in a way where it's Orestes deciding, should I do it, should I not do it? I've made up my mind, I'm going to kill my mom. And then he goes over to Clytemnestra, kills his stepfather, who Clytemnestra married to replace Agamemnon. Clytemnestra runs in with her axe in hand. The two of them start talking. It's like a weird alternate reality if Hamlet talked to Claudius before killing him. And then ultimately Orestes decides it's time to do it. He stabs his mother in the chest, and it looks like the end. No, it's not the end. The Black Furies insert themselves into the story now. The Erinyes, those were the Black Furies in the story, who find out about what happened to Clytemnestra. And back in these kind of cultures, you could see it with ancient Greece and ancient Hebrew. killing your own family members was a unforgivable crime. That was a cardinal sin that nobody could forgive. So the Aaron start chasing after Orestes, who is running for his life through many cities and many countries, countrysides, trying to get away from the Erinyes, until they finally catch him outside of Athens, and they're about to kill him right then and there, until Athena steps out of Athens. Athena, in this case, is a very, very, very powerful verbena mage in the story. And she says, no, let's not kill this guy. I think there's a story to be told here. Let's take this guy to court instead. So Orestes is put on trial. He has his own defense. The Arrhenius are prosecutors, and they come at him with like a Roger Robb, Joseph McCarthy kind of, did you kill him? Did you do it? Did you do it? Did you do it? And they keep hounding him until he ends up confessing and saying, yes, I did it. And the Arrhenius say, good, he said it. Let's kill him. And then Athena says, no, let's keep hearing the story. Continue your testimony. And then he gives off the entire record of the Oresteia. And Athena thinks about it and says, I know everyone here wants you to die for what you did to Clytemnestra. We're going to keep you alive. And I remember in the version of the play that Apollo is his defense attorney, considering Apollo is kind of like his mentor in the story. Apollo's inconsequential to the story. Yeah, but...
No, wait, isn't Apollo a Roman god? If this is Greece, wouldn't it be Helios?
He's both.
Oh, okay, it doesn't matter.
They liked the name Apollo so much that they kept it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Athena is looking and saying, instead of killing you, we're going to let you walk the earth with a little brand on you. Not a physical brand, but the brand that you did what you did. And we're going to let the entire world know that you killed your mom. And you're using... Sure, the gods told you to do it, but it was ultimately your decision to follow through with it. And she looks at the Erinyes and says, you remember what happened to Cronus, who fought Uranus? You remember Zeus, who fought against Cronus? You remember all the other people that tried fighting Zeus? And this ties in with the book of Genesis, with the story of Cain and Abel, where we have Enoch, Irad, and Zillah saying, anyone who commits offense against Cain, we will kill 7 of your children. Anyone who commits an offense against us, we will kill 77 of your children. Athena says, no, we're not monsters. We don't need to kill each other. We can punish, but we don't need to make murder our only identity. Do you want our children to look at us and our grandchildren to see us as nothing but vindictive murders? Do you want this to be our identity across the world to other nations? No. We can learn to be better. And we can forgive while still punishing. And that's what I'm going to do. And that's the Oresteia for you.
All right.
Yep. And what happens next? The story of Bellerophon. I know there's a lot of paintings of Perseus riding Pegasus. That never happened. That was one Renaissance painter that got the story wrong and painted Perseus riding Pegasus. And then so many people copied that, and it's like a game of telephone where the story of Perseus got mixed with the story of Bellerophon. So Bellerophon is the son of Zeus, who walks over to Pegasus, remember, the son of Medusa.
Yep.
And he says, I've got an issue that I need help with. And the issue he's talking about is the Red Talons in this story. Because the Red Talons are killing a whole bunch of Greeks because the Red Talons got a Red Talon. Pegasus says, okay. He ferries Bellerophon over. They start fighting the Red Talons. And at some point, Bellerophon falls off and almost dies at the hand of the Red Talons, but he manages to get back up on Pegasus's back. And the two of them kill the pack of Red Talons that he was after. But Bellerophon is so pissed that he almost died that he takes his sword, grabs Pegasus by the cock and balls, and cuts them off.
Jesus.
Right. Pegasus remembers this, so when Bellerophon decides our next destination is going to be Mount Olympus, Pegasus says, okay, and then as he's flying, he turns upside down and lets Bellerophon fall to his death in the Mediterranean Sea and then turns right back around.
that's
The Greek-
justified at that point. It's like you cut his dick off. You deserve that.
And the thing is, when Pegasus returns, the Black Furies and Medusa see the cock and balls missing off of Pegasus. And the Black Furies and Medusa say, a man did this. There's no way a woman would have treated a man so cruelly. I mean, we kill men, but we don't torture them. And Pegasus, we feel so sorry for you. And Pegasus says, I know. It's that cursed patriarchy that did this to me. And I hope that what happened to me will be a reminder to other men who say that there is no such thing as patriarchy, to show that there is such a thing as toxic masculinity. And then Medusa and the Black Furies say, what you just said, you're a totem now. And they replace Luna and make Pegasus the totem. Now, I know what you may be thinking. Why is a biological man the terrible totem of the Black Furies? I have 3 answers to that. First of all, what I just said that Pegasus said, where he is a symbol that patriarchy hurts other men. That men who aren't the alpha males will be under the submission of other men. And whether or not you agree with that idea, you have at some point in your life met a man who's a little too macho, who decided he wanted to beat and bully you around. That is what Pegasus stands for. But along with that, I think I might be rolling out. Did I?
What?
Okay, I did not robot. Okay, good.
No.
Second of all, Pegasus ends up becoming intersexed. After a while, enough Black Furies begin praying and praying and praying. We really wish the wound will heal back as a vagina. We want the wound to heal back as a vagina. And because the Black Furies believe it so much and want it to happen so much, Pegasus ends up becoming a woman. I don't think he has a uterus. I don't think that you can impregnate Pegasus. But the scar heals to become a ham sandwich. And the reason why that happens is that it's kind of what the Black Furies ultimately want. They want to live in a world where there are no men. The only thing there is a woman. And hopefully one day they'll be able to asexually reproduce. Pegasus also represents the erasure of men. That one day the Black Furies want to live in a world where there are no men. And one more thing. The Pegasus is a horse. A horse is a beast of burden. And typically, what you will get with Pegasus, Jaglings, and Gafflings is that the Black Furies will ride them into battle. And it's another thing. The man serving the woman instead of the woman serving the man. And that's another thing that the Black Furies really want. They want all societies to be matriarchal, and they want men to feel the exact same pain that they've put women through. Those are the 3 reasons as to why Pegasus is the totem.
And those are or reasons, not and reasons. Or what do you think?
Yeah. No, those are and reasons. It depends on how you really see it. Maybe, what do you think?
I think it could be and reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, but the thing that kind of throws me off about that is we said, like, in the beginning, it was the wild of masculine and Mother Gaia that gave life to the earth. And with the Black Furies wanting there to be no man, that upsets the whole balance of Mother Gaia in her inception.
Which is what the ultimate flaw of the Black Furies is, but don't tell the Black Furies that. They'll be very upset if you told them that.
Yes, and quite frankly, even though I shoot blanks, I still like my cock and balls to be attached to me.
And back then, you didn't need a man necessarily. There was another changing breed, the Were-Minotaur, the Apis, who all they needed to make a kid was the blood of a man and the seminal fluid of a woman. And they mixed it, planted it into the ground, and behold, there's your Cabbage Patch baby ready to plant up, and now you're a mom. So the Cabbage Patch Kids is what they were making.
And we were talking about the Apis and the children of Gaia. So
We haven't made that episode yet. That's going to be a call ahead to when we talk about the Children of Gaia.
yeah.
And then the Apis all died. And speaking of the Apis, we have one more myth to talk about: the Amazons. So
Okay.
the story of Hippolyta has been twisted so many times that I'm going to try my best to combine all of them into one story. Hippolyta was the queen of the Amazons, these badass warrior women of Greece that created a matriarchal, self-sustaining society. Heracles, the guy who put the Gladiator, decided that he needed Hippolyta's belt as part of his 13 trials of Olympus. He goes over and he has his friend Theseus with us, who just got done killing Asterius, the last remaining Apis. Heracles goes over and says to Hippolyta, I need your belt. And Hercules is about to be killed on the spot until Hippolyta says, you humor me. Let's fight for it. And Hercules wins by grabbing the hair of Hippolyta and using that to pull her around until he eventually rips the belt off of her and then kicks her away. Hippolyta orders Heracles to be killed until Theseus jumps in, takes the blow for Hercules. Heracles in the story. Heracles flees while Theseus is captured. Theseus is then kept captive by the Amazons for an indeterminate amount of time until Hippolyta winds up developing Lima syndrome. Lima syndrome is the opposite of Stockholm. Stockholm is when a captive falls in love with the captor. Lima is when the captor falls in love with the captive. Though I'm not entirely convinced that it was Hippolyta loving Theseus, it was more like Hippolyta loving the power she had over Theseus. The guy who killed Asterius was now her bitch. So she goes into her cell and says, in order to assert my dominance over you and show that I am better than you are going to give me a child. And Theseus says, okay. And the two of them rock it, and Hippolyta is, of course, impregnated by Theseus. Theseus, in order to keep himself alive, now seeing that Hippolyta got what she wanted out of him, says, I know where Heracles has gone. He's in Athens. Let me lead you to him. Hippolyta says, I'm going to accompany you. And you remember the entire time, I'm the leader in the operation as we look for Heracles. Hippolyta leaves with Theseus. 9 months pass, and the Black Furies begin to wonder, the Amazons begin to wonder, where's Hippolyta? Where's she been for 9 months? So they spy on Athens, and they find out that Hippolyta is now living the life of an aristocrat, an oligarch, where she's got the kids, she's enjoying herself at home, while Theseus is working. But not only is Theseus working, he's dating another woman that's not Hippolyta. And the Amazons say, what the fuck? And invade Athens, starting the Attic War. A lot of details get tossed around, and Hippolyta might have died. But it's okay, the baby survived and would eventually become Hippolytus of Athens. And that's when we end the myths, because that's where the Black Furies stop being super intertwined with Greek mythology.
Right. So a whole lot of Greek mythology intertwined with the Black Furies.
Now for the Bible. And something that's in this book is that the Black Furies hate Abrahamic religions. They hate Christianity, they hate Islam, and they hate Judaism. Does that mean that the Black Furies are anti-Semitic? I'm not going to say.
I mean, since they hate all Abrahamic religions, then I don't think you can be just boiled down to anti-Semitism. If they were like the Swords of Heimdall, then yes, but no. Yep. They're more so like Reddit well, no, not even Reddit atheists. They actually have conviction.
Mm-hmm. Because they use stories in the Bible that they see as misogynistic, namely Eve being the tempter of Adam in the story of Adam and Eve, the story of Lilith in Jewish mythology, and they especially bring up the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, not the homosexual part, the part where Lot offers his 2 daughters to the mob, and then his 2 daughters, seeing that there's no men, have sex with their own father in order to become pregnant, and they see that as absolutely disgusting, and they hate that part of the story. But there are some other Black Furies who are more conservative and say, you're forgetting something. Do you not remember the story of Moses, where the only reason Moses succeeded is because of the women in his life? Like Pharaoh's wife, his sister Miriam. His wife Zipporah saves his life because Moses, being the leader of the the Hebrews, forgets to circumcise his own son. So God appears before Moses to kill him until Zipporah pieces together what God is mad about. circumcises the kid, and then throws the bloody foreskin at Moses' foot and says, "Here's what you were supposed to do that I had to do for you. You're welcome." And that's how that story goes.
I gotta read the Torah again, bro.
The Book of Exodus is very fun, and some Black Furies that are pro-religious will say you're cherry-picking details. But what they can agree upon is Islam, specifically Sharia law. They really hate the laws of the Muslims. They see them like saying that a woman needs to keep her hair covered, that a woman is to serve the man, that the woman is viewed as property in some cases, that a man can marry multiple women as if it's a status symbol.
Yeah, I can see why they have a problem with
And
that.
yeah, and there's still stuff like that women can't do in Saudi Arabia. Uh, Granted, they can finally drive cars again, but they still can't do something. I think I might be wrong saying this. I'm pulling up the list of inequalities, but I think like registering to vote is something that they just can't do.
Well, no, Saudi Arabia is a kingdom. I think. I don't think they have elections. Do they?
Yeah, that's why I said that was probably wrong when I was saying that.
Yeah.
Um, Here, oh, okay, I finally have the list in front of me. Alright. So what exactly they can't do? It's still like the dress code. They still bring up like they have to go with the
The
with the
burqa
hijab.
and the yeah.
Abortion is a grievous sin, and that comes up later in the book too. And all these different things that women just aren't allowed to do. I'm sorry I'm not being that well and eloquent because I think the vodka's starting to hit me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like 2 shots was a. Did you eat anything today?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Then you might be okay. Just grab some water and
This is what our comment section is going to be full of.
what? Just hang on. Where's it at?
That I went in with 2 shots of vodka into this episode. That's what all the comments are going to be.
Yeah, more than likely.
Okay, because I'm fucking this up. Let's get off the point of Islam. Okay, let's continue.
Yes.
Rome happens, and Kyle, this is our third time talking about this civilization.
Yeah, they seem to come up a lot, but then again, they were pretty freaking massive.
What the Romans do is that they take the idea of patriarchy, that the Black Furies blamed the Hebrews for starting, by the way, and they take it and make it even worse because Hebrew women were allowed to do things in their own homes. That wasn't the case with the Romans, as far as the Black Furies are concerned. So they do everything they can to start sacking and destroying any and all Roman advances and camps until the Glasswalkers approach them and say, "Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. We've got a plan. Join us and we're going to infiltrate Rome. And we're going to pretend to be priests and senators. And this is going to be a fantastic infiltration mission. You're going to be right in the heart of the worm." The Black Furies refuse at first until they eventually take down the Roman Empire, only to immediately see it spring back as the Holy Roman Empire, where paganism is replaced with Catholicism. The Black Furies called up the Glassworkers again and said, "What was that plan you had?" And the Glassworkers said, "Come join us." So the Black Furies send their representatives. They're standing next to the Glasswalkers. They see that there's one more tribe next to them, children of Gaia. And the Glasswalkers say, "Here's the plan. We will pretend to be cardinals, monks, and nuns. And we will turn the La Sombre-led Holy Roman Empire against itself. And it will be beautiful." And that's exactly what they do. The Black Furies become nuns, and they wear the restrictive clothing, and they hate wearing the restrictive clothing. They immediately take it off the minute they're out of eyesight. But they start reading the Bible, and they see the Virgin Mary, and they go, "Holy schmoly, we love the Virgin Mary." And they do everything they can to make the Virgin Mary a symbol of Catholicism. And you still see that today, especially with churches that are in Central America.
Oh yeah. It's like they have the shrine all over the place.
And a guy who's been attending Catholic churches lately, I can tell you that, yes, I know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
I hate that I have to phrase sentences like that. As a blah blah blah, I hate that kind of sentence, dude. I'm so ashamed that I did that.
I mean, well, how else were we going to state? It's like, you you can qualify that you know something about what you're talking about, so it's not a huge
Yeah.
deal, especially when it comes to
Yeah,
this.
but I just hate seeing that sentence. It's just a pet
I know
peeve.
the language is kind of actually ish, which I understand. I mean, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest. I'm not a very good Jew, like, but I know enough.
And the Order of the Merciful Mother forms. The Black Furies start a camp, and it's called the Order of the Merciful Mother, and you can still see it today. It is Catholic Black Furies that know a thing or two because they were majority of the people in this camp are really, really smart because the university as a concept started in the Catholic Church. So the Black Furies had access to all this information that they have passed on to their daughters. And this is why the Black Furies tend to be very well-spoken geniuses, especially in this camp. And this goes on for a while until the wrong person sees the Black Furies out of their nun clothes dancing in the woods as a rite to Pegasus. And in comes the Inquisition. You can blame the Black Furies for starting that. Because they did the dance, werewolves are added to the list of things that the Church of St. Leopold, the Catholic Church hunters, are going to kill. And the Glasswalkers keep their heads down. The Children of Gaia managed to survive through a contact. We'll talk about that contact when we talk about the Children of Gaia. The
Right.
Black Furies, on the other hand, are caught and staked, as in burnt at the stake. Majority of Orders of the Merciful Mother escape, but the few that are caught are given the Joan of Arc treatment. And that is a horrible blow to the Black Furies, and they say, we're going to try to keep preaching, but we're going to keep our heads down, and at least they've kept the Virgin Mary as a symbol, so our accomplishment stuck. And then the Renaissance happens, and there's a whole whopping 2 pages of the Renaissance in this book. So we can skip this.
Yep. Not a lot going on there.
In comes America. Everybody starts going to America, and the Black Furies are late to the memo. By that time, they had already started forming what their tribe was going to look like in the modern day. Thanks to the Renaissance, thanks to women having access to books, thanks to common people being able to read and write more often, they start preaching feminism across Europe. And they're doing a pretty good job. They start laying the foundations for suffragettes. And then by the time they learn that America exists, it's late to them. So, like the Silent Striders, they get in while stuff is already going wrong. The Black Furies arrive with the help of the newly formed Freebooters Camp, a camp of Black Fury feminist pirate werewolves. If that sounds like a fun combination to you.
That sounds fucking sick.
They head on over and they go to the New World and they speak with the Croatan and they say, what's going on here? The Crotons say, help! Help! And the Black Furies say, yeah, that's cool. Do you have any wild spaces here? And the Crotons say, well, there's the jungle. And the Black Furies all pack up and head for the jungle. And they all decide that the Amazon rainforest will now be the resting place of the still surviving Amazons. And the Amazons of Diana decide that they're going to settle in the Amazon rainforest. And in World of Darkness, the Amazon rainforest is a beautiful hellhole. There is violence and murder happening here every day. This is a place that is constantly at war with every shadow government you can think of. If Pentex isn't trying to mine and destroy the rainforest, if Jair Bolsonaro is not trying to set on fire, you have the Black Furies fighting the Macaulay, fighting the Actena, who disagree with them, fighting the Balam, who they run afoul with, and then fighting the mages who hang around here, who then fight the Fae, and then the Wraiths who are in the area, and then the vampires, and it's a constant fight that never stops in the Amazon. And they love it. They love the violence. They want to stay there. They say, this is what we were born for. This is where we belong. We love the violence. We love the chaos. This is what we were born for. And the Black Furies decide that this is going to be their base of operation after the Sept of the Bygone Visions. And that Sept, we're going to bring that up later, is a island temple in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea that the Black Furies will get visions of the future and the past while resting at. So it's a pretty important place because it puts them on the same level of ability, psychic ability, as the Silent Striders.
Oh, yeah. We already talked about how gold the Silent Striders are with that.
And you might be noticing that a lot of camps have been popping up around this point. It's because now the what kind of feminist are you question becomes a thing. As Black Furies can't really get on the same page as to what feminism is supposed to be because we're still in first wave, but you're starting to see the bloom of second wave. And it starts creating a few disagreements within the Black Furies, not near to the extent of the Glassworkers. They're not killing each other over this. But a lot of arguments are happening within the Black Furies, which lead to a few Black Furies that are more on the liberal side, talking with the Children of Gaia. And around this point, they start talking with the Children of Gaia, and the Children of Gaia, as we know, are werewolves that have a lot of sex.
Oh, yeah.
The Black Furies say, you have a lot of sex, we have a lot of sex, we actually know more about sex than you. Let's have some sex. Then they start having sex with the Children of Gaia, and they do that for a while, and they spend so much time doing that they don't really participate in the issue with the Eater of Souls. They don't come up in that entire conflict.
Good to know.
They have better things to do, right?
Well, yeah. Have great sex with the Children of Gaia.
And make a lot of menace.
Yeah, I didn't think that through, did they?
They did come back to help during the issue with the Storm Eater, because the number 2 of the Eater of Souls was the Storm Eater, who was a big, powerful bane that created hurricanes. And they did participate in the fight against the Storm Eater. Granted, you can't really kill it, you can only seal it, and eventually the Octanum pulled that off. But the Black Furies were there, they want to specify that. That kind of goes to show that while the Black Furies are very strong, they don't focus on fighting so much. They're more diplomatic when it comes to werewolves. They're like the Shadow Lords, where their talking and their Goliathness is what gets them through situations. I just burped into the microphone. Did you hear that?
I thought you were just moving your laptop. You're good.
Yeah,
That's
I felt
interesting
that
you say
growing
that,
in my throat.
Because the Black Furies is like, especially when it comes to some other tribe books that we've been reading, it's like they classify them as a warrior camp or as a warrior tribe. And they are, because as we talked about the Amazons, they just kill shit because it's fun. But, you know, the fact that there is a lot of diplomacy, I feel like that hails back to Athena and how she convinced them. It's like, okay, let's let Australia arrest. How the fuck do I say his name?
Orestes.
Let's let Orestes live and, you know, show some sort of mercy, but also let everyone know what he's done. I feel like that sort of carries over from that very early history, that they were taught that violence isn't the answer to everything, and now they want to try to use that as much as they can.
It's kind of like another opposite to the Stargazers, because the Stargazers can talk the ears off an elephant, but the Black Furies can get when pacifism fails and you need to fight, the Black Furies can very easily cave your faces in. I think this might be the second strongest clan right behind the Fenris in terms of physical power.
Yeah, probably.
Because we're going to start seeing some of their gifts. And their gifts are very simple, but very effective.
Yeah, as I was looking through some of them, yes.
And around this time, they skip ahead. By this time, the Protestant Reformation happened. Martin Luther did the thing. Thank you, Children of Gaia. And the Black Furies can now start preaching again, without the fear of a witch hunt. Granted, that Order of St. Leopold is still around, but it's not nearly as big as it used to be. Then around the year 1900, the Black Furies begin second wave feminism. Here we go. We're now going to get the string of victories for the Black Furies. 1920, the right to vote. Win number one. 1940, the World War II. Black Furies enter the workspace after all the men die. Win number two. Win number three, the Civil Rights Movement. And that is when feminism took off as an ideology. You have all these women reading sociology and philosophy, learning that a woman can be more than just the sum of her parts, learning what exactly defines a woman, learning that there's multiple definitions of a woman, and then use that to soar through the social status. No longer are you staying in the kitchen. No longer are you just at home taking care of the baby. No longer are you just sitting waiting for your husband to come back with the car. You're doing the things that the man used to do now. You're voting. You have women in Congress. You have women in the House of Representatives. You have women CEOs. You have women building the roads, doing infrastructure, plumbing, who are running stores, who are CEOs. And the Black Furies say, we've done it. We've done it. We've done what we've been trying to do for thousands of years. We're done. We're done. We've done what we came here for. Now we just gotta maintain it. And this is what's kind of really cool to me about the Black Furies. Because them and the Bonars, this was a tribe that started with nothing, dude. And you see, besides the Inquisition, they have done nothing but achieve as time has gone on.
Well, they had to. They wanted to prove themselves to the rest. They didn't want to just prove themselves. They wanted to be better than the rest of the Garrow.
It proves that they're politicians on par with the Shadow Lords.
Yeah, they're damn good at it.
And the way they do it, lobbying and common sense. That's how you do it. Unlike the Shadow Lords, they don't need to kill anybody. They just need to be smart. And of course... And next up, we have a fun little moment. Hold this up on screen. I posted in history pages. It's called Spartacus's Revolt. It's right under that Black Fury banner.
Spartacus's Revolt. I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, me and you watched the Barbie movie.
Yes, we did.
And you can summarize Spartacus's Revolt as the Barbie movie.
Total of 9 Garrow in his pack, which he named Freedom. Funny.
So the thing with the Black Furies, they're an all-woman tribe, but what happens when a Garou is born as a man? Typically, when it's a Homid or a Lupus, they just either sacrifice it to Medusa or Pegasus, or they hand it off to another tribe. Typically, it's the Children of Gaia, because the Children of Gaia are full of same-sex relationship werewolves who would love to adopt. But if a Metis is born, that's part of the litany. You're not supposed to do that. And the Black Furies don't really agree with a lot of stuff with the litany. They typically say that the litany can shove it, because we weren't invited to the litany to write the litany. But because eyes are on us and we have a social standard to live up to, we're going to take care of the male Metis kid only. Because that's what good moms do. And also because it's our penance of having a man in the tribe and having to take care of a man for the sin that we caused of mating with another Garou. That's what the Black Furies do. And Spartacus in question, I have a hard time taking his name seriously, considering that he's named after the gay bar and Leisure Suit Larry.
Okay. We're going to leave that where it is. I thought Spartacus was the name of a historical figure.
Yeah, it is, but it's also the gay bar and Leisure Suit Larry.
God damn it.
That's where some of the funniest dialogue comes in. Like, not homophobic dialogue, but just, like, genuinely funny.
I gotta go back down there and play the
So
fucking
it's hard
game.
for me to take that story... It's hard for me to take that story seriously, but what it is that it's the male Black Furies who all band together and say, we're sick of never being promoted. We only ever learn rank 1 gifts with rank 1 fetishes and rank 1 rights. We want some advancement. And the Black Furies don't just say no, but they kill the male Metis who are involved in the revolt. Those who repent are spared, those who continue to fight are killed. Keep this in mind, because we're going to do an editorial in a minute. And now we start getting a lot of fun other stuff. You see where it says on that paragraph, the stepmothers?
Yes.
So a few Geru end up going insane one day after getting some worm exposure, and they become the Wicked Stepmothers. This is the fallen Black Fury tribe. Another thing I'd like to bring up with Werewolf Den is that they say any Geru that falls is a Black Spiral Dancer. That's not the case. You have the Wicked Stepmothers right here. I mean, just read the books. It's not that hard. But
Yeah.
either way, what the Wicked Stepmothers do is that they will kidnap little girls, and I will let your imagination do the rest.
I mean, it says here that, Ishara Cleanwater Ahmed Haroon and her pack, an environmentalist group devoted to trout, of all things, called the Stream Runners, discovered heavy metals leaching into freshwater in northeast Wyoming. Hard to piece together a path, but spirits say they traced the poison back to an abandoned silver mine that had been taken over by the Black Spirals.
That's how it started because they drank poison water.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. And after that, they start finding little girls and incite the powers of the Defiler worm, of all worms. The fun stuff, right? So,
Yeah.
like, ministry type shit.
Yeah, we don't want to fuck with that.
Yeah. We don't want to age restrict this video either, so.
No, we don't. I think that's enough context for that.
Yeah, and as time goes on, it's actually a little interesting here. The Black Furies book, I will say, is the best book out of all the tribe books. Because this book had 3 writers, dude. And it shows. Because they apparently had a guy who was entirely dedicated to reading current events. And we start getting some crazy stuff in this book. Like, stuff that I didn't even know happened. Like, they start talking about Bangladesh in early June of 1999. Something big happened in Pakistan. An enormous typhoon struck Pakistan and Bangladesh around the same time, killing tens and thousands. India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh governments all blamed one another for the massive number of dead, resulting in this massive political bullshit that resulted in a lot of people not getting aid, which is when the Black Furies swept in and started handling the issue themselves. So now we start seeing they start adopting a few things of the Balnars, but they start participating in philanthropy. And then as they investigate, they start finding out that vampires are involved in it and immediately go on a vampire hunt afterwards. And they don't need no silent strategy for it either.
Yeah, they just went out and did it.
And then on top of that, you start talking with the Balkans, the Shadow Lords. And they're over in Yugoslavia during the Bosnian genocide. And the Shadow Lords look at them and say, "This is our territory. What do you think you're doing here?" The Black Furies was saying, "Dog, there's a genocide happening in your territory. Are you going to do nothing?" The Shadow Lord said, "We were on it, but if you want to do something about it so bad, let's work together." And boom, that's how the connection between the Black Furies and Shadow Lords gets started. Because if the Black Fury wants to move up in politics, they start talking with Shadow Lords. And as we know from the Shadow Lords episode, the Shadow Lords have a lot of political power, don't they?
Yeah, they're actually doing pretty good for themselves, but that's about it.
And then they talk about the Russian collapse, and they talk about the Zhmei, who are these worm snake dragons that appear in Russia, and they discuss fighting them, and discuss Baba Yaga, the whole issues with them, and they start talking about the African Brushfire War. Now, this was interesting, because I didn't even know this conflict was a thing until I started reading this book. So I posted this guy's name in our previous chat. Let me see if I can find it. Oh. This is a long story. In Zaire, 1967, the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Hello?
You know a place is a dictatorship, but they have that kind of name.
Oh, yeah.
If
If
you
it
start
says Democratic Republic of, no, you're trying to save face. You're out of your mind.
We're the People's Republic of.
Yeah. I mean,
It was called Zaire at this time, but leader. Okay, don't bother spelling this. Mobutu Sese Seko Kuku Nubedu Wazabanga.
Jesus.
So we're going to call him Mobutu for the story.
Yes.
was the leader of Zaire during this time, and he held a one-party political system. Everyone who wants to say they want one party in America, you don't want that, and this is why. He was a rabid anti-communist until 1972, Mao Zedong suddenly started funneling tons of money into Zaire. And then he immediately became a communist. All of his neighboring countries accused him of being a communist. He accused all of them of being Western capitalist shills. It led to tensions becoming so tense between each other. Trade stopped, feud started, and eventually a guy needed to rise up. One Laurent Desire Kabila and his rebel army, who seized control of Zaire, renamed it the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and now Mobutu is in exile. And I think he's dead by 2023. But the Black Furies bring it up, and they say they were involved in that war because they saw this is another attempt. They say, we saw the Bonars in France. We saw the Bonars working with the revolutionaries in France, and then working with Napoleon Bonaparte, and they got somewhere in France. But of course, France went right back to being a Weaver shithole. So let's do what they did, succeed this time. And of course, it didn't actually happen because women's inequality is still really, 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 really bad in the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Yep.
I think like women have like 23% of the rights that men do in that country.
There, I assume you
So-
looked that up. There was a statistic, I imagine.
Yeah, there was, and this is also what I say about American feminists. Yeah, there's still some sexual inequality in America, but it's way worse in Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. Well, it'd be really cool of you if you tried supporting the women in those countries. Just saying.
Yeah.
And then the Week of Nightmares happens, and Medusa goes missing. That ain't good.
No.
And the Black Furies look around, and they quickly track down Medusa. She's in the Umbra. She's in the deep Umbra, and she looks like she's taking a rest. Okay, let's let Medusa sleep. Medusa works really, really hard. Let's let Medusa sleep. She does a lot for us, and we're grateful. Have a vacation, like the glassworkers gave the cockroach. But it turns out that Medusa was holding something back. I think this was put in the book because the writers realized that the Black Furies were getting too powerful. So I think the only reason the Metamorphic Plague is in here is to give the Black Furies some stakes. Considering that the Wicked Stepmothers aren't that threatening of a group.
Right.
Even though what they do is pretty nasty, there's not that many stepmothers. The Metamorphic Plague, aka the Wild is not your friend and has never been your friend. The Wild decides that he wants to wild the Black Furies by causing them to mutate into Gorgons. This will spontaneously happen to a Black Fury. They have no say in this, and there is no cure for this. And it causes Black Furies to not only become men in the process, but become so horribly mutated that nobody can really describe what they look like anymore. And the only real way to stop this is the worm. In Times of Judgment Apocalypse, the only way the Black Furies fall to the worm is that the Wild metamorphosizes so many Black Furies that they realize they're about to die. So the only way they can stop that is that they would rather die as themselves instead of mutant freaks. So they make a pact with the worm, and the worm says, I will give you a Magadon pharmaceutical immunity booster to become a Gorgon if you do what I say when I say it. And the Black Furies say, we hate you, we hate everything about you, but we'll do it. We see no other option. And they become wormish through that and only that. And that shows how dedicated the Black Furies are to the fight for Gaia, because you have to twist their arm to get them to fall. They need to be pushed to a spot where it looks like there is no hope and they're all about to die out before they would ever fall to the worm. And that's what I find really cool about the Black Furies, dude.
Yeah, I mean
And
that does make me wonder, why is it that Medusa being in the Umbra led to that?
because Medusa was the one that was holding the wild back from doing that.
Ah, okay. So the other side quest is that, well, not really the side quest. The main objective is to try and wake her up.
Yeah, wake her the fuck up, but we don't want to wake her up because she's been working hard, but we do want to wake her up so we don't get metamorphized. But we do, but we don't, but we do, but we don't. Oh, what do we do? We don't know what to do.
Give her a minute and then go back and get her.
Yeah, we'll give her 5 more years and then we'll go to her.
Yeah, it sounds like it. That's
Well,
a good vacation.
Hit the snooze.
Yep. Yeah, that they got some really wild history.
Yeah, exactly. Wild with an I or a Y.
Both. I'm sorry.
And now we talk about the Wild, the Weaver, and the Worm. They see all three of them as women. I know we just discussed the Wild as the infinite man, but the Black Furies don't see that. You can call that willful ignorance, or you can call that a different perspective. Because they see the three as the Fates. They see the Wild as Clotho, the one who begins the Red Weave. Lachesis as the Weaver, as the one who measures the thread of life. And the Worm as Atropos, the one who cuts the thread ending the life. You know the story with the Fates, right? You've seen Hercules, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And they say something pretty chilling about the Worm, too. They say, we know there is no way to stop the Worm, because the Worm is the strongest and oldest entity in existence. Long before the Weaver existed, that gave purpose to life. Long before the Wild existed, that created life. All that existed before the both of them was death. And death will continue to exist long after the Wild and the Weaver are gone. You can't stop the Worm, but you can at least try to stop the Worm from overreaching and causing death before it's allowed to happen. They see the Worm as a natural part of the world and cosmology, but they know that the Worm is doing too much as our cosmic force, and they're trying their best to stop it.
Right. You know, they could try walking without rhythm. I'm sorry. I'm just
Doing it.
I'm all about puns
And then-
tonight. I don't know why.
And then we live in a world of the Wild where everything is just made for no reason.
Yeah.
I made a creature with 9 arms and just a giant mouth for a head. Why'd you make that? I just
don't know.
did.
The same thing with the
Of the wild
platypus. Isn't that a totem? Platypus?
I think it is. I need to look it up. I think it is.
I don't know for what tribe, but yeah, I see why the Black Furies have grown on you so much, because they sound kind of fucking fun to play. Not just for all
They're
that, and their lore
super-
is awesome too.
I think I might do the editorial now. I have seen so many different women who have played World of Darkness that have looked at the Black Furies and have said that this was inspirational. Not only with, in the case of rites and gifts and rituals and to fetishes, that all descriptions of them are listed as the werewolf is referred to as a her, as a she in the paragraphs. So that was good. But the Black Furies being a tribe that has done nothing but gain and gain and gain, and this was when third wave feminism was starting, and this is when women became really expressive in all forms of media. And depending on who you are, you could say they became a little too expressive, but you know, you do you. And a lot of women who played World of Darkness saw an identity with the Black Furies and felt an emotional connection to the tribe. And we saw that in our comments with the Werewolf 5th edition video, that we had a woman who said exactly that.
Yes.
And I said thank you, because you get why I'm so upset that Werewolf 5th edition removed that from the Black Furies.
Yeah, they butchered
And
it.
for
It's
a
terrible.
game that has been progressing, a game that has been progressive for years, removing that aspect of the Black Furies, you can hide behind it's an interpretation, it's a ranching all you want. It was there before, it's not there now, and all the tribes have been made to act the same. And the Black Furies, as they stand in your reimagining, are parodies of social justice warriors. This is what gets me super upset about 5th edition.
Like that, like you say, because Werewolf and nerd media in general has always been more or less progressive leaning. It's because it's all about trying to make a better future, or warning us of what would happen if we didn't. And like, I feel like I had somewhere to go with this, and then I complete. Oh, so I feel like back in the day when it was kind of that push forward rather than progressivism registered trademarked, then I think back then it meant more to people because it felt more personal. It didn't feel like you were checking a box. It didn't feel like you were trying to parrot an ideology. It felt like you actually wanted to make something that would inspire people to be better. And that's what I feel like that
And we got a
Black
comment
Furies in second edition was.
We got a comment yesterday from a guy from Puerto Rico who said, as a Puerto Rican, he would love to play it as the Ictena because the Ictena were based in Puerto Rico, and he felt some Puerto Rican identity and heritage by picking the Ictena.
Exactly.
Exactly that.
And
I know our comment section isn't the only place for this because you can. I know that I have a rivalry with the channel, and it's coincided, but Melissa of Rage Across the Internet has said that during her episode with the Black Furies, that seeing the Black Furies, it felt like it gave her some voice as a feminist, where it looked like there was a company of people that agreed with her views of feminism, and she felt empowered through that. And those are her words, not mine. I might be paraphrasing, but those are her words.
And she's absolutely
And
right. I mean, it's supposed, like I said, it's supposed to be inspirational. It's supposed to want people to be better.
I really don't like Porter and I don't like Tommy, but I can't say anything bad about Melissa. Not saying that because I'm a chauvinist or anything like that.
No, just as state of fact from what you've watched of Rage Across the Internet.
Yeah, as someone who I know that she knows what she's talking about.
Yes.
And Meepin, what do you think about this?
I don't really have a strong opinion, to be honest with you. I mean, I get that the fifth edition removed all the tribal identities, and that's fucking horrible. Uh, because having a tribe that is women focused really does like speak to feminism and uh, make a place for women that's unique to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it talks about women in a sense that makes them feel empowered, where I can feel the strength behind it because it's getting me riled up reading this text. It's not like, what's a good example I can use? This is something that used it wrong. Tuca and Birdie. Kyle, I've told you how much I don't like that show, and it's because it feels like it's NPC piecemeal dialogue.
That is
Like,
progressivism trademarked, is what it is.
I wish I could protect these women from bad men. You are very brave for telling me your story. This is the dialogue in that show, and it's, oh my.
Meanwhile, in the Black Furies,
If you want AI to write your show,
yeah, then talk to the people who wrote Tuca and Birdie.
oh my God.
They're
But
probably on
the Black
strike
Furies,
anyway.
no, it's like no, the Black Furies are cool.
Yeah, they're
This
fucking
is
awesome.
like Red Sonja, but it's like Red Sonja if Red Sonja was written by a woman. I'm about to out myself for a minute. Kyle, let me Google search this with you. I think the comic is type in Vicky Wyman,
Vicky Wyman. How?
Xanadu.
Is that
You
Vicky?
spell it Vicky space Wyman.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. this is the underground comic. This is, I think it's pretty obvious who this is, but this is a comic that was written by a woman artist. And
I'm not finding what you're looking for.
you're not finding it.
No, can you throw me a link real quick?
See, I can.
I'd appreciate it because
Uh,
I'm not finding it.
this comic is incredible. I'm about to go on a tangent. It's that this comic is incredibly difficult to find, dude.
I mean, I looked up her
Is
name. I didn't find it. Maybe I spelled it wrong.
Yeah, and at the same time, I would have loved to have an interview with her too, but no, she's dead. She's been dead since I think like 2015.
That sucks. So yeah, could you? There we
Yes.
go. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll
So here we go. Embarrassing rant in three, two, one.
go ahead.
Uh, so this was kind of like it kind of like felt like this was like a D&D adventure in a way when you read this comic. It's 6 issues, and this is told from a woman's perspective, and it's specifically about love and marriage and relationships. And it's honestly endearing as a story because yes, sex and sexuality are a part of it, but it's explored from a woman's perspective, and it kind of shows like the differences between men and women when it comes to writing. Because of course, a man when you write a sex scene, it's going to have some eroticism to it, but when a woman writes it, it's going to have some tenderness to it. And this is a comic that got me a little bit interested in looking at more women creators. And when I came across the Black Furies, you can get off of it now. When you came across the Black Furies, one of the authors for this book was a woman. It was a husband and wife duo who wrote the Black Fury second edition book.
Really?
Yeah, and I would love to have an interview with both of them, but I can't find them anywhere, and it sucks.
Yeah, that's the running theme. It's really hard to get a hold of a lot of the second edition White Wolf staff.
And the only person who's still around is Justin Achille, and we saw him backstab his entire work staff.
Yes, as we saw in our 5e rant.
Yeah, Ellen Kiley and James Kiley, could you please try to get in contact with us if it's ever here, if this ever reaches you?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay, embarrassing rant over.
Yes. All right.
I'm
So-
I'm going to look back at it after I sever up, and I'm going to cringe.
You are absolutely not getting rid of the episode though, because this is great.
No, I'm not. I'm not deleting any of this. And auspices. These guys are pretty different when. Oh, sorry. These girls are pretty different when it comes to auspices. Ragabash. Meepian, you are currently playing a Black Fury Ragabash.
Yes, I am.
And you know, as one of them, you are extremely talkative. You always have something to say, and you tend to come up with ideas that nobody else is thinking of. Um, it kind of helps you like signpost it for your character by saying, instead of killing Ragnar, let's just call Bacchus and see what results of that. And typically, when you have a Ragabash in the Black Furies, you have a Socrates who is constantly questioning and questioning and questioning until a policy eventually gets changed. Crescent Moon, the Theurge. You have a Ragabash who is. I'm sorry, not. I'm already fucking this up. You have a Theurge. These women are already very, very deeply tied with the wild. Imagine what a Theurge looks like.
Just ascended.
You have the shaman who is out in the woods, completely naked, covered in paint, in the middle of a chalk circle, summoning spirits that you've never seen before. A lot of spirits that they talk to are plants. Imagine the kind of spirits they will summon then, where you have a scary-ass plant monster coming after you, thanks to the Black Furies.
Just it'd be little pet shop of horrors all over again.
Yeah, just like not one big plant, like multiple tiny plants that give you a death by 1,000 cuts.
So
I don't even want to think about dying that way, dude.
No, that sounds terrifying. What circle of druid is that's just summons a whole lot?
See, Shepherd Druid.
Yeah, so I'd say that the Theurge Black Fury is just a shepherd druid.
And a very just as deadly as D&D 5e.
Oh yeah.
Half Moon. Once again, extremely political. The Athena is not a totem of the Black Furies. They don't really like Athena that much because they say she kind of did them dirty in Story of Perseus. No, not Story of Perseus. I'm sorry, the name of the Greek myth is escaping me, but they don't like Athena enough to make her a totem. But they tend to do Athena's job, where they say, instead of going with the base impulse that I'm feeling because of my rage, let's instead talk this out and let me give you a fair trial to decide what I'm going to do with you.
Yeah, it's like we were saying earlier. They're
And
very
they give us
diplomatic.
and they give us Moon. Name any chick rock band from the 90s.
I don't know about in the '90s, but I know you got Patti Smith, you got Pat Benatar, you got
No.
Hart.
It was real 80s.
Yep.
You have Joel Crow,
Yes. Jewel, I guess.
Alanis Morissette.
Meredith Brooks.
Would Shania Twain count? I guess. Yeah, Shania Twain.
And you can see just how a Black Fury Galliard would work in terms of art. Because you've got someone who is, I'm a woman, I'm going to strut myself, I'm going to do it in heels, and it's going to be awesome. Granted, not all of them need to stress the gender equality points because you can always just have a Galliard who just enjoys making art for the sake of art. But a Black Fury will typically be political when they do it, and they will sometimes do the whole period blood painting. They'll actually like make a picture with it instead of just smearing it.
Yeah. I feel like that'd be a bit more effective.
Yes.
It's like imagine having a
You can also
fucking
use
black.
that as
Good.
I was going to say, if you partnered up with a Tremere, you could actually use that as a ride to make a really nasty trap out of that painting.
That'd be scary as shit. Like imagine you have a Black Fury Galliard that like depicts her like tearing a worm in half out of just period blood. That'd scare the shit out of me.
Yes. It'll be nasty. That painting would smell like shit, but it would get the point across.
Well, yeah, it's Galliard.
And next, the full moon Arun. In history pages, I posted a picture of our favorite NPC, Kiris. Would you like to pull her up on the screen?
I will.
So, thanks to the power of AI images, me and Sean used Midjourney to make her, and it posted side by side a human and a wolf. So we played Vampire the Masquerade before we started playing Werewolf, and we had a pack of werewolves as a very deadly boss fight. This was the one and only werewolf we failed to kill.
When
And
did
would
you,
you
when
like
in
to
the game did
reiterate
she
after-
show up? I forget.
She was the first werewolf who appeared. She appeared in the first session because
Oh,
she was
in
the one who,
in the hotel.
yeah, she killed Axel Ostergaard, who was a Bruja Insulae. And you saw her do it. She stomped his head in with her foot, and then immediately came after you after doing that. And you can remember just in the vampire game just how difficult she was to kill.
Yes. She was nigh unkillable. What up, mate?
Oh, I was just thinking that's the Fury gift of is it Frenzied Regeneration or something like that?
I think
Yes.
yeah, I think you used it in our last werewolf game if I remember correctly.
Wild Resurgence.
Oh, that's the one you
Well, I was
used.
just yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
But
should almost have my character sheet up.
yeah, I recall that. I
If
recall
you-
when we saw that, and we saw. I think me and Ragnar were about to get into the lobby, and then we saw her kill Axel, and I looked at him like, "I think we might want to see the better side of Valor."
And she chased after you and threw her axe at your car.
Yeah, I'm glad we got the fuck out of there, bro. That was scary.
Yeah. And that's what you do with the Black Fury Arun. You want to put the fear of the Erinyes in the people you chase after as the Black Fury Arun. These women don't fuck around. That whole intro mythology of the Black Fury women taking men, dragging them back to their bases, using them, having their way with them, and then immediately executing them when they were done. That's what the Arun did. And funny enough, there's a sixth auspice with the Black Furies.
Really?
This is a revelation. You ready for this?
Hit it.
They call this auspice the Eclipse. It is a Black Fury that is born on the night of a lunar or solar eclipse. And they are born with all the power of an Arun and the mind of a Ragabash. You have a perfect warrior and a perfect politician rolled up in a single werewolf. And so far, the Black Furies are the one and only tribe who has accomplished that. And the Eclipse in question was an almost invincible warrior of Gaia. And the Black Furies know how to make another one of those. Because, like I said, nobody knows sex better than the Black Furies. And the Black Fury can perfectly time that solar and lunar eclipse birth to make a perfect warrior for Gaia. You don't mess with Black Furies, dude.
No, absolutely not.
Let's do camps. Meepian, you got some camps for us?
Yes. I absolutely don't have these memorized, but I've got my notes pulled up and ready to go.
Good stuff.
So there's a ruling body of the Black Furies, and they're called the Calyx.
Yes.
And they have the outer circle and the inner circle. The outer circle is 13 Furies, and they're allegedly chosen at random from qualified applicants.
Allegedly.
But it's also, they note that certain members of the Calyx seem to get reelected time after time, and certain other members of the clan, such as the Metis, just don't seem to get elected at all, which seems a little suspicious.
Yeah, I wonder it has something to do with year-end voting and mail-in ballots. That's not good for it all.
God damn it.
It's not clever at all.
No.
So, yeah, these are the elders of the Black Furies. They're the ones that are calling all the shots, making all the decisions, and they are master politicians. And there's a reason why. It's because they're like Nancy Pelosi. They've been in office for 60 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Some ungodly number.
Yes, you just can't. These
Can't
women
get
just
rid
don't
of her.
die either because, yeah, these are this is the tribe that is seeing its members live to old age. And how many tribes have we done so far, Kyle? And how few of those tribes can we say also did that?
Pretty much all except maybe the Shadow Lords. Or yeah, the
Yeah,
Shadow Lords.
the Shell Lords have that KGB pension plan where if you survive, you get that pension and then you can just retire. The Black Furies are the one and only tribe I can think of off the top of my head, besides maybe the Children of Gaia, that are living to old age. And if a glassworker does it, they're cheating.
Yeah, they have cybernetic implants. They don't count.
That they stole from Iteration X. Alright. Maybe what's the next camp?
The Calyx also has an inner circle, and that is based on Artemis and her trappings. And she had 5 items that she gave, one to each auspice. And these are her cloak, which she gave to the Ragabash, her salve, which she gave to the Theurge, her bridle, which she gave to the Philodox, her loom, which she gave to the Galliard, and her bow, which she gave to the Arun. So there's a member of the inner circle from each auspice, and these guys are completely secret. So it's like, how are they chosen? We don't know.
That already mentioned voter fraud.
Yeah, there's probably a certain amount of that going on. It seems like there's a certain amount of inheritance going on. If from what I read, if one of the inner Calyx passes outside of the election series, that then her protege takes over. So
Mhm.
likely there's a lot of protege to protege promotion. Okay, now
And
we
you can, uh, if I may make one point, when we talk about Artemis, that's the physical incarnation of Luna. That's Luna in human skin. That's what they mean by Artemis.
okay.
Damn.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Now we talk about the actual camps, because the Calyx can be from any camp, and probably once they become part of the Calyx, they're not really a member of their tribe anymore. They
Exactly.
kind
Yeah.
of ascended. Okay, the first one we have are the Amazons of Diana.
Yes.
Uh, they are probably a high number of Arun because they're very much the fist of the Black Furies. They attack, 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 and they're not. They don't really seem to have any finesse at all involved here. Um, uh,
They just kill shit.
yeah,
Extremely
they,
violent.
they, they prove their worth to the camp by committing violence.
And you notice the word Amazon in their name. That's exactly where they are. They're in the Amazon. They're having a great time in the Amazon, killing everything that moves in the Amazon.
Yep.
And
Okay.
what's a
Paradise.
funny note in here is that I caught is that they will go up to get a Fenris and we'll get chest to chest with them and then challenge them to sports, typically blood sports. And it's a coin toss as to whether or not the get a Fenris wins or the Black Fury wins.
I love
Okay.
they're just like
Is
the
it-
dude bros of the Black Furies. It's
yeah,
like, let's go,
this is
son.
this this is the butch lesbian of the tribe, really.
And they're still great. I don't care. I love them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Then we have the Bacchantes,
Yes.
and they are sort of the guard of the tribe. So they're still warlock or warlike, but they're not so much concerned with attacking things or the defenders. Um, Let me see here. They're still described as vicious whirlwinds of destruction. So
Mhm.
obviously they're fighters. That's their role, but they don't. They're, like I say, they're protectors rather than attackers. Um, see here, the Bacchantes see the Amazons as deluded glory hounds and third generation feminists who want to be seen as women who kick ass as well as men, which is
Yeah.
very much true. Um, Now the info I have doesn't really talk about their role or their relationship with Bacchus, which is
Th- I'll bring that up. That is
yeah,
because
please
Bacchus
do.
was he was not added to the game yet. He was added in 2003, 1 year before White Wolf went bankrupt.
Oh, okay.
Ah,
Yeah,
But
yeah, so
Elmira,
Bacchus himself is a
that's
very
Elmira's tribe, though, isn't it? Or her camp.
it's her camp, yeah. Yeah, and
yeah.
these are the Black Furies. A lot of sex, a lot of parties, a lot of fights for fun. And if you get involved in their party, they will grab you by the neck, have their fun with you. Not necessarily sex, and then they will throw you out with your neck broken, your arms dislocated, and your rib cage shattered, and then you have to regenerate your way back home after they're done.
Ah, you know what? Die happy.
They're
That's fine.
they're described as red talons levels of violent.
Man, I don't think anything can be Red Talons levels of violent, except maybe the Red Talons.
And describing who Bacchus goes by many names. He is outrageously powerful for some reason. And the way we depicted him, if you look at our live play, he's our totem. And Bacchus is the male feminist. And namely, he's here because he says, "Oh, you want a man to get you pregnant? Well, just call me down. I can just get you pregnant myself." And so that's what the Bacchus would do, is that they would call Bacchus on the telepathy phone. Bacchus would come down, impregnate one of them, and then you would have an immaculately conceived Black Fury.
Just show up to the party with a bottle of Moscato.
Exactly. And the thing is with Bacchus is that uh, he's the kind of guy who sees that there is no real difference between the sexes. I mean, granted, there's a very obvious biological differences between men having a penis, women having a vagina, and the different biological functions of the both. But he says there's nothing a man can't do that a woman can't do, and a woman can't do that a man can't do besides the biological functions.
Mhm. Yeah, so the word bacchanal is synonymous with orgy
Exactly.
and has the same root as Bacchus,
Yeah.
Bacchantes, Bacchus, bacchanal.
Yep. These
All
guys
right.
have a lot of very rough sex.
Yeah, and that's my character's tribe. So
And I'm
there you
thankful
go.
he's our
Yeah.
totem now.
Yeah.
The game just got that
You're
much
gonna
closer
come
to
back to
getting
that camp.
constantly age restricted.
You're gonna come back to that cairn, and you're gonna leave with your rib cage and spine broken.
As long as I got my gnosis back, that's fine.
It's all in good fun. All right. All right, we'll talk about the freebooters. We mentioned those earlier, the Werewolf pirates. Now, what they're actually all about is finding unspoiled areas of the wild
Mhm.
and reclaiming it and making it a cairn. The problem is there is very little in the way of unspoiled wild left for them to find and consecrate. So this is a dying camp.
Mhm. Which kind of sucks because the freebooters are incredibly badass.
I mean, yeah, they're fucking pirates.
Yeah.
Pirates are cool as shit.
You know where? You know what's a good spot to settle on?
Where?
The moon.
Yeah, it's kind of fucking hard.
Yeah, it's. You have the technocracy mages doing that. You just need to capture one of them, say, "Take me to the moon," and then use their technology and start freebooting on the moon. And then you don't need to call Luna. You just are on Luna all the time.
Yeah, but then you get shot with a death ray, and that kind of sucks. I played
Yeah,
Wolfenstein: The New Order.
you
That
gotta
doesn't
come.
go well.
You gotta come equipped when you're fighting the technocracy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now, one of the things they do also is create cairns in the Umbra. So
Yes.
that's a place that they can find some wild.
That's a very difficult cairn to breach because you're in the animal realm in terms of Samsara, where everything there is trying to kill you.
Okay. Alrighty. Next up, we have the Moon Daughters.
Hmm.
And I don't remember a damn thing about them off the top of my head. So let me just scan this real quick.
You remember the subreddit Witches Against Patriarchy?
Oh Jesus.
That's them.
Okay, yeah, there's new pagans apparently.
And
Uh,
this is the kind of feminist that most people who don't like feminism will say are insufferable to be around.
Yeah, I kind of see where they're coming from. Choose.
Granted, they're not wrong because these guys, these girls talk with the Verbena mages. And the Verbena mage, if you don't believe in paganism, behold, the Verbena mage can just summon their god right in front of you. There you go.
Yep.
yeah, the thing I see most notable about the Moon Daughters is their agents of change.
Hmm.
So they might still practice the same rites that, for example, a Children of Gaia would, but instead of using like charcoal and sailcloth, they would use a fucking laptop. Because
Exactly.
it's like, why would we use medieval trappings when we've got modern equipment available?
On equipment that costs more money. It's They remind me of the Hollow Men from HD Ascension, who are postmodern mages that will substitute ingredients for spells with stuff they have on hand. It typically blows up in their faces, but, sometimes their spells go off.
Are those the guys that like just kind of chuck shit together and it magically works?
That's the knockers, but you're thinking along the same lines.
Right. I just play a knocker.
Yeah,
That's probably fun.
here it seems to indicate that their rites are as successful as those performed with old school equipment. So,
It looks like somebody needs to start talking to the Hollow Men.
yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, it's a sort of a glasswalker thing to do as well. You use technology.
Exactly. And oh boy, these guys love the Glasswalkers. We're going to talk about that soon.
Yes, we are.
Alrighty. Order of Our Merciful Mother. We've talked about this a little bit in the history. They are the Catholic nuns of the Black Furies.
Mhm.
They still exist, and they still perform a similar role. They're, um, looking to find ways to empower the female divine. Um, and they've actually spread out a little bit. They're part of other religions as well, Islamic and Buddhist and all these other things. And they've infiltrated these organizations to just bring on that female perspective to the religion.
And they have a lot of stuff to say because you can get into some very interesting theological decisions with just the Bible alone. Because Kyle, as in your Jewish upbringing, did you ever get the idea that Adam was hermaphroditic upon creation?
I never would have considered that. No.
Because there's no women around that time, so paradoxically, Adam is both the man and the woman during that time.
Okay.
Yeah, so that where I'm getting with that is that there is a divine feminine within God because the creature he creates first is a mixture between man and woman.
But yeah, because he took the rib from Adam in order to make Eve.
Exactly. And, that's the whole thing with order and chaos. We probably could just do a video about that by ourselves, but neither of us are in ministry yet. So let's
No.
continue.
Okay. Yeah, the only other note about the Order of Merciful Mother is that quite often they do actually believe in the religions that they are infiltrating.
Sean is continue. Sean is
uh,
sending us something.
okay. Alrighty. The Sisterhood. Once again, I have limited recollection of what I read about these guys. Okay, they are information brokers.
Mm-hmm.
And typically they can, because they deal in knowing things, they can frequently get things. So they're also procurers. So if you want to find out information, you would get a hold of the Sisterhood. If you want to get an AK-47, you talk to the Sisterhood, and they can probably hook you up. And they
Also the
go ahead.
this is also the lesbian pride camp because a lot of members of the Sisterhood are women who will move in with single moms that they will see as their kinfolk, and then will immediately begin having lesbian relationships with the mothers. And a lot of other kinfolk within the Sisterhood are also their other girlfriends or sexual partners. So if you want to have the lipstick lesbian pride, this is what you go for.
Is that in the book?
Yes, first edition at least.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Talking about
So
mixing
the
spots.
Sisterhood's origins are the Inquisition. They started off as a secret railway to get primarily Guru that have been captured out of the Inquisition's hands, but also kinfolk that they wanted to protect as well.
And if I didn't.
And
If I didn't mess up the information when I was making your character with you, this would have been the group of Geru, Black Furies that we would have talked to in the cairn instead of the Bacantees.
okay, I don't
Yeah.
think we mentioned that in game, but that's okay.
It's because I botched it. I said that the Bacantees were the LGBT werewolf, but no, it's the Sisterhood that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would make sense to me that the Bacantees would be much more open with their bisexuality, which again, my character is.
Yeah, given what we just discussed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Next we have the Temple of Artemis.
Lunatics.
Now uh, yeah. Um, Now their biggest deal is that they don't take neonates
Mhm.
or young bloods.
Mhm.
They have to you have to be an established guru with honor and knowledge to get their attention, and then you can join them.
Mhm.
Um, Let me see here. Yeah, I guess I skimmed this a little bit.
It, what's the big deal with the Temple of Artemis is that Kyle, when we talked about the Fianna, we brought up the Tuatha De Fiann.
Yes.
This is their version of the Tuatha De Fiann.
Right.
But instead of fairies, you're talking to the moon.
Just
And
direct communication with your totem.
yeah, and the original totem too, because the moon in question, this is the person who made the pact with the Geru, giving them their auspices, teaching them how to use gifts, giving them the moon bridges, giving them the cairns. And you are talking with somebody who has directly given you the power of the moon. So when you hear that a bunch of Black Furies are talking to the
God,
moon,
put the.
it's a big deal.
How do you get these
And
on time?
we're talking about the moon. The moon! The source of all Geru power.
Ugh.
And something about the moon. Luna is the most capricious, prickly, difficult, borderline insane character in World of Darkness, probably more so than Malkav. And imagine the conversations that you are having with the moon in Temple of Artemis.
I
It's like
can't even fathom it.
the Court of Miracles. It's a miracle if you make it out of that temple alive.
Yeah, I
And then,
feel like it.
oh, Sean was gonna say something stupid, and then they didn't. Oh,
Oh, that's unfortunate.
yeah.
Yeah,
I,
so the deal with the Temple of Artemis is because they're elders, they tend to be wiser and also more cynical. And
mm,
speaking of cynical, they also have more members proportionally than they should in the Calyx, especially since they are a smaller faction.
mm-hmm. It's because that no election process, right?
Yes, the random draw somehow seems to favor the Temple of Artemis.
It also might have something to do with the moon running the whole thing.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, wonderful. Do we have any other comments about the camps?
Um, no, that is all the camps.
And seeing all the camps, are you glad that you picked the back and tees, or do you think Elmira would have fit into another camp?
She probably would have fit in with the freebooters because I did actually take some rites, which we'll talk about later,
Mm-hmm.
that are all about cleansing and um, establishing cairns.
Yeah.
And also the sisterhood. I think I could have been very happy to make Elmira a lesbian and have been sort of a technocrat using a laptop and hacking her way to Black Fury glory.
And speaking of gay werewolves, I would like to bring up for a minute that I do think Justin Chile, in his cowardice of removing feminism from the Black Furies, avoided dodging a bullet because I don't think anything he would have said would have gone well with the Black Furies given our political climate.
Probably not.
Kyle, I posted something in history pages.
All right, let me give her a look. See
That that paragraph talking about Vula.
Wait, talking about Vula. Oh yeah, I see it.
It's above the picture of Kieran.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. So this is from Major Australia, and this is a Black Fury who is a hermaphrodite, given the exact same Metis deformity that our character Reynard in our live play has, who is given no advancement, and she is the leader of a pack, but that's as far as she's going to get. This is how they treat somebody who is technically born a woman, but has the penis on them. So when the option rises, the LGB, where does the T fit in? This is where debates with the Black Furies get a little bit nasty.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to throw my hat to the ring about this. I'm literally nobody, but I'm going to say it. For a while, that used to be, the T used to be transsexual instead of transgender. It was only through the advancement of having a sex change surgery that changed from transsexual to transgender. I have a gay friend that I work with that explained to me what the community was like before the political climate changed so
So rapidly.
so volatile and so nasty today. Yeah. And would there be a man to woman in the Black Furies? And my answer to that is going to be no. Because going over the issue with Spartacus, going over Vula here, and going over that the Black Furies see all men, the men they're born as rapists, and the issue they had with, say, the whole deal with the Clytemnestra, where a man being killed is fine, a woman being killed isn't, and how many gifts and rites and even the spirits are about being a natural woman. Because we're about to get into gifts and rites soon, and so many of them revolve around pregnancy, something that science has not been able to replicate as of 2023. And one spirit in particular is a monster that is made out of period blood called the Haima, that once again only a biological woman can create. And you seeing the way they treat hermaphrodites and male Metis, what makes you think that a man who says he's not a man anymore and wants to be a woman instead, how they would be treated going into the Black Furies?
I mean, counterpoint.
Given
Sorry,
what
me.
we've
Do you have a
discussed so
point?
far.
I was going to say that that's trans-exclusionary radical feminism, which is what J.K. Rowling is all
Yeah.
in trouble about, which is something my character, who is much more of a moderate, would turn around and say, no, if they're trans, they're a woman now, so there's no reason why we should exclude them.
Which is where I'm going with this, is that you can have a transsexual transgender werewolf. The glass walkers can just give you the surgery with all the technology that they've stolen from Iteration X and their progenitors. And they're friends with the Sons of Ether and the virtual adepts, who just need to flip a switch or press a button on their smartphone and boom, you're the sex you want to be. And the Children of Gaia, absolutely. That's something that the Children of Gaia are fully behind because they love anthropology. The Black Furies always come across to me as a more conservative feminist. So I'm going to say out the gate with the lore that we have in our hands at the moment, it would be a no with the Black Furies, but that's not to say that you can't try to change it in your chronicle. That if you want to have a Black Fury who is a Ragabash or a Philodox, and is trying to make a case about having men who no longer want to be men and go through the change, and it doesn't need to be the surgery where you just get a slice of your forearm ripped off and then a pseudo penis is made or a pseudo vagina is made. No, you actually have the magic in this game that can turn you into a woman with working parts.
I mean, like that was
This
the
is what's fun
whole.
with having a
Good. Finish your thought.
yeah, like call a verbatim age, and they did that with Pegasus too. They just prayed hard enough, and eventually Pegasus's gelded cock and balls turned into a vagina.
That's what I was
So
about to
that's
say.
not
Yeah.
to say that. Yeah, that's not to say that that could never happen with the Black Furies, but as it stands in second edition, that's not a thing. You can have a Black Fury who argues for it, but don't expect all the Black Furies to accept it. And you can run the Black Furies however you want, really, but just from the outset, that's not going with the lore that we have on hand. Because I'm going to say with the evidence we have on hand, it's not. But there's one other piece of evidence that plays devil's advocate against what I'm saying. The live action roleplay guide. That provides an argument against what I'm saying. And most of the stuff in the LARP isn't exactly canon. Granted, it takes a few things like I put in our Fianna episode because I liked it so much. The Fianna teaming up with the Gorel. That's in the LARP, that's not in the lore books. But the Black Furies listed in the live action roleplay guide are said to have started taking men into their ranks because they realize that they're about to bottom out because they don't have enough women to be a tribe anymore. So you can explore this with the Black Furies, but you need to know some context behind it before you can just say, my character is a trans woman who is in the Black Furies. There's a little bit of context behind it, and I'm not saying you can't do it, I'm just saying know the lore. And that's the end of this editorial.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it could happen.
Yeah. And now we can do relationships.
All right. Cool. Relationship time. So, starting off with the rest of the Garrow, we're starting with the Bone Gnars. Now, the neat part about this in the book is that there are, like, it seems like a round table discussion of a number of different Black Furies that are discussing the different tribes. So starting off with the bone numbers, you have Kara, Constantina, and Simone, who are the three that are talking about the bone Gnars. So Kara claims that they dwell in the city, they work with the Glasswalkers, Ratkin, and Weaver spirits, and they aren't to be trusted. They're horn dogs, and they, don't smell clean, and they also don't understand that Garrow should not mate with other Garrow, part of the litany, and that you should avoid them if you can. However... fuck you laughing at?
They're saying this about the Bondars.
Yes, they are saying this about the Bone Gnars. Kara does not like the Bone Gnars. Meanwhile, Constantina...
And I'm thinking about the skit that we did. I'm thinking about the skit that we did when I was the Shallard and you were the Bondar.
Did we record that on episode? I gotta remember that.
Yeah, we recorded that in the Shallards episode, and I'm thinking about that.
I gotta go back and watch that after this episode. Anyway, so Constantina informs her that you shouldn't let the foul behavior and the manners, the Bone Gnars, fool you, because they have more contacts over cities than anywhere else. She still avoids them when possible, but if they need to go into the city, Bone Gnars have information that few others can have. Simone interjects and says that they've mentioned that the Bone Gnars and Ratkin are companions, but not really, other than the fact that they both have rat as their totem. So basically, they smell bad and they don't follow the litany all the time, but they're great if you need help in the city, is what we're going for.
What you're bringing up with the names, Kara, Constantina, Simone, and Carlotta. There are Amethyst. There are 5 narrators for the relationships part. And this ties into the camps because it's not feminist, it's different types of feminism that all have their different opinions on the different tribes.
Yeah, that's actually kind of a neat thing. I'm noticing that some are a bit more forgiving than others. And
this was in the Glasswalkers, and we omitted that with the Glasswalkers because we're going to start talking all day with the Glasswalkers, if that's the case, because so many Glasswalkers wanted to get their voice out. And holy crap, get ready for it with the Children of Gaia.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of...
It's even worse than the Children of Gaia.
Speaking of Children of Gaia, so Kara believes that usually would heap scorn on them because they are indeed warriors. But then, Kara tells about how they had a sister and her sept that had a male child, went through his first change, and the children of Gaia adopted him without a second thought. So they are very kind. Constantina remarks that they are very steadfast allies and actually a lot stronger than most realize. They might turn the other cheek a lot, but when they do finally dig their heels and put up a fight, the enemies will regret that. So it's like they don't like to show their strength. They're very charitable and very kindly, and they have to be pushed to the very edge before they actually put up a fight. But they can indeed put up a fight.
Given that these guys can jam guns as a very early gift.
Yes, that absolutely. It's like, hey, he's trying to pull up on the block. How about no?
Exactly. You stop the drive-by shooting by just having a child guy raise his hand.
Yep, that's pretty great.
Can I step back to the Bonars for a sec?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
One of the things that I think sort of defines the relationship between the Black Furies and the Bonars is that when a Black Fury has a male child, it's the Bonars that they give the child away to.
Yeah, they either do the dumpster baby where they give it to the Bonars, or they give it to the child of Gaia, where the child of Gaia is doing what they do best, lobbying, and they're waiting outside the cairn, waiting for the delivery, waiting for it to be a man with their fingers crossed. And the minute it's a man, they scoop it up and walk back to the cairn with it. And the Bonars will just open the dumpster the next day, find a baby in it, and then take it.
Like Tokyo Godfathers, basically.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so my character has a strong relationship with the Bonars because she was mistaken as a male when she was born. Just pure gender identification fail, and given to the Bonars, who were like, do you want this girl back? And yes, you can, but under our terms.
And it's a horrible midwife. The midwife is drunk. And
yeah, like, how do you fuck that up? Did they put the wrong color paint in the gender reveal balloon?
Yeah. It came out yellow.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
But that was my interjection, so go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on. My boys, the Fianna. Kara doesn't like them because they're drunks and horn dogs, and they're like the Bonars with clean clothes, and they don't squat in houses, but they're okay in a fight. And they Hambegora, some bullshit some of us use to pick up impressionable American girls simply has to go, but I'm sorry. Look, that's just part of what we do, lass. It's not my fault. And Constantina actually really likes them, said the Fianna are fierce, passionate, and the zest for life makes them very valuable allies against the war against the Great Unmaker. Could you fill me in on the Great Unmaker?
Worm.
That's just the worm? Okay. I was confused with the terminology. Okay. Can get a little corny sometimes, but rather have them with us than against us. Amethyst chimes in about a story where she has a Fianna packmate who needed to find out a secret from a human who worked for Avalon. And he met the man at a bar.
Pause.
What?
But that's the toy company.
Oh.
That's the company that makes the evil G.I. Joes.
That's kind of hysterical. G.I. Joe.
Continue.
I remember the advertisement.
And it's actually figured out to shoot you with a gun.
Yeah. And so anyway, he met the man at a bar, drank with him until he told the secret, didn't use any gifts for fear of attracting Banes, and they have some skills that they should respect. Well, thank you kindly. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's that the Fianna have a lot of sex. Yeah, the Fianna break a lot of rules, but they have a lot of talents that nobody really appreciates. And the Black Furies would be open to working with the Fianna as long as it's on their terms, because you remember with the Fianna episode, in order to get at Rome, they teleported into a Black Fury cairn that resulted in a civil war where a lot of Fianna died.
Yeah, that was a bit of a logistical error on our part.
Yeah, it's a whole relationship based around don't call us, we'll call you.
Look, we were trying to attack Rome. You were trying to attack Rome. Why did you attack us?
Because we didn't invite you. That's why.
We're going to the same fucking party. It's like when you get mad when your ex shows up at a party. That's what that fucking was. Okay, so
Spicy one.
yes, the Get Ephemeris. So Kara has a very long story about this. About one of her pack sisters was born into a Get Ephemeris camp. And as she quotes, a more serious bunch of assholes was never born. And so this pack sister could hold their own against any of them. She could scrap with any male cub, but they never gave her any respect. And the other women in that Get Ephemeris sept gave her shit for insisting that she was getting a raw deal. And so she eventually just kind of fucked off and joined the Black Furies because she was sick of never being recognized for her talents. Constantina goes on to say they're absolutely reprehensible. Goes on to bring up the Swords of Heimdall and says behavior during and after the Second World War was positively villainous, and they used the cover of war to seize cairns from other Garrow who were too busy fighting the wormlings of the Fenrir homeland. And that goes back in Get Ephemeris history because they did that to the White Howlers after they got corrupted. So yes, they absolutely do. They are consummate opportunists. They are correct about that. Mm-hmm. They are maybe honorable Get Ephemeris lurking in corners of the world, but in my life I've only encountered a handful. Carlotta adds that she wishes she could disagree, but she has seen nothing but violence from them. They seem to feel that the Black Furies are the antithesis to them, but they need to put that aside if they actually want to combine their strength to win the war against the worm.
Yeah. And fun story, the Get Ephemeris in 1856 invaded the Sept of the Bygone Visions, thinking they could take it for themselves. We said in the Wendigo video that the Wendigo were the one and only group that fought the Get Ephemeris to a draw. That would have been the first ever loss for the Get Ephemeris in the fight with the Sept of the Bygone Visions, had the Get Ephemeris not retreated.
Oh, yeah?
Because they teleported in, they did their usual shtick of, this cairn is ours now, and the Black Furies were not having it. They pulled the cairn heart out, shut down the moon bridge, which screwed them over, just to get at the Get Ephemeris, and they fought so violently and viciously that it chased the Get Ephemeris off.
They were like, well, we can't have it. Neither can you. Get fucked.
Yeah. If we're going down, you're going down with us, and we're going to make this entire victory pointless.
Exactly. Honestly, I kind of respect that.
And the Get Ephemeris that stayed behind, they executed.
Yes, makes sense. We were talking about this, the Glasswalkers. Kara says that they're okay. Some of them are kind of scary with their obsession with electronics. She's heard rumors about the cyber dogs, and she imagines that the spirits can't approve with that. But they are incredibly useful in the cities. They have loads of resources. They know all the best spots. They have all the best weapons, and they're kind of useful for that. Constantina remarks that in the old days when the Glasswalkers lived in the cities because it was easiest to keep track of humans, they served pretty good purpose. But now they're probably wrapped too tight in the Weaver's webs to serve Gaia effectively. They have some useful stuff, but they rely far too heavily on them. Yes, they do. Interesting that
they're not taking the copium.
No.
They're not taking the copium. They're saying, yeah, at some point we're going to have to deal with Glasswalkers.
Yeah, more than likely, yes. And in 5th edition, when Spider was their fucking totem.
Yeah, in that case, the Black Furies would have been given the AOK saying, all right, we called it, time to get rid of Glasswalkers.
Yep. Shit happens. Then we have the Red Talons. Only Kara and Constantina talk about this. Kara says that she cannot apologize enough to these guys for all the crimes that humans did to them. But it's impossible to apologize for all that. She just keeps her distance from them. The worm constantly tempts them with rage. to the point where they come close to the door of Malpheus. And if they were to lose them to the Black Spiral, it would be a blow the Garrow could never recover from.
Oh, don't worry, you're not going to lose them to the Black Spiral. They have an awesome apocalypse scenario that I would love to talk about. But it's funny that the Red Talons they scared the hell out of the Black Furies first, but now they're friends. Because if a Black Fury kicks down the door and says, "We got a man to kill, we got a husband beating his wife," Red Talon is going to immediately pick his head up and say, "Somebody talking about killing a man? Let's do it." And then they're going to team up, and they're both going to charge the man's house, kick down his door. The Black Fury's going to hold him down while the Red Talons rips out his intestines and strangles him with it. And then after the murder's done, they clean their hands, and then they go their separate ways.
Yeah. It's like that friend you only call when you're about to go in just like an alcoholic bender. It's like, dude, we're going out to the bar. Fuck it, I'll be there. And then you ignore him for like the rest of the year. Because the shit he did was so atrocious, you don't want to look at him.
We're about to commit a violent murder. Come join me.
It was like, fuck yeah, dude, I'll bring the beer. He's like, bro, we're all going to have beer at the party. I don't care, I'm bringing more. Anyway,
And now for their new friend.
Oh, what, the Shadow Lords?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So, Kara doesn't like them because, well, the Get Ephemeris give the impression they're going to just kill you at any second. The Shadow Lords think they're going to just kind of hide away and then kill you in your sleep. However,
Which they will.
Yes, they will. Constantina finds that they seem to have found themselves in some sort of an alliance in Europe. And they patrol with us in the Balkans side by side. We talked about that in their history. They see each other as equals. They root out the worm as fiercely as they do. And it's kind of unnerving. Maybe the Silverfang's propaganda about them was wrong. And maybe they have a dagger hidden around here somewhere. And Simone...
You bet they do.
Simone warns everybody that no one ever identifies themselves as evil. And the Shadow Lords do not indulge in skullduggery just because they enjoy it. It's because they have a plan, and they absolutely do. The Shadow Lords are good at thinking ahead on things, so more than likely they're using their alliance with the Black Furies.
Can you imagine? Oh, absolutely, they're using them from a black vote. That's the one reason the Shadow Lords are friends with them.
Yes.
And can you imagine the look on the Black Furies' faces when the Shadow Lord leads them over, pulls the curtain back, and reveals their relationship with the Camarilla?
Oh, dude, that'd be devastating.
Yeah. Saying, "Surprise! We've had vampire friends the entire time."
Well, now we know that in the fucking in the game, so now we got to find out how to navigate those waters.
Yeah, and then you gotta look at because you talked to Nosferatu, and then not only that, but Vladimir Putin and who is it, Lukashenko, are also with the Shadow Lords.
Yep.
Yeah, modern events aside.
Okay, so, Silent Striders. Kara thinks that they're just kind of entertaining. They have a very dry sense of humor and are remarkably perceptive. They're very good traveling companions, but they don't really join septs all that often. They need more like them. Constantina says that some want money or favors in return for sharing intelligence, but honestly, just pay for it because you'll get some incredible information from them. Just like if you find a Silent Strider, stick with him as long as you can, learn as much as you can from him. Don't matter the cost.
Shove the dollar bills down his throat.
Yeah, just shut up and take my money. Or take my gifts. Take some gifts. Have some gnosis.
And
Okay.
now we get the big part about the Silverfangs because we had to go to the Black Furies to get this tidbit about the Silverfangs that really recontextualizes them.
This is the first thing Kara says. I don't know any Silverfangs younger than about 35. The bloodlines are too thin over for Falco to accept them. And the ones that she knows are remarkably brave, but are not always coherent or useful outside of a fight. Someone needs to tell Falco to loosen his loins a bit. I'm sure there are young Silverfang, but far too few. Constantina says that they still rule the Garrow Nation, and the king has their loyalty. And after Gaia and the Inner Calyx, of course. When the Silver Fangs are coherent and directed, they are Garrow of legend, but simply rue that they are so infrequently coherent or directed. So they're just unstable. Carlotta adds the most national leaders are ridiculed without mercy because every mistake is on display for the world to see, which is true. And none of them have a pristine history, but the Fangs' history is just more widely known. But they're just unstable. They're on the brink of collapse because their blood is far too thin.
So what they just said about Falcon needing to loosen the reins,
Loosen his loins, as they put it.
you don't want to see that happen.
Why is that?
We're going to talk about that in the Silverfang episode.
Okay.
And holy crap, is it catastrophic.
Right. All right. So from there, the Uktena. So Kara states that the Uktena are kind of the end. I thought this line was really funny. The end result of a clansman's night fare, a delightful medium brown with the features of all 6 continents wrapped up in each face. The Uktena, she knows, are very good friends and very valuable allies. Constantina believes that they have too much time spent mucking with forces beyond their control, and so if the first place to go to if you want to know what the local Banes are up to is the Uktena, the last thing you ask yourself is where they got their information. Use them when you can, but never rely on them. Never trust them. Simone believes that they are opportunists. Like in the War of Tears, they fought the Bunyip like everybody else and took over a lot of their cairns, much like the Get Ephemeris did. They'll find that cairns in both North and South America that once belonged to Farah now secure in Uktena hands. They don't think they planned it, but they didn't stop either. So mildly more useful.
The War of Tears.
What's up?
The War of Tears was a perfect setup, and we'll get into that with the Red Talons.
All right, and then the Wendigo. So Kara states that the Wendigo remind them a lot of the Red Talons in a lot of ways. They got fucked over, but they're still assholes. They could be fantastic help in the war against the Worm if they could swallow their pride for a minute or two. Constantina adds that in the old world, they don't encounter many Wendigo. They seem rather insular and devoted to their homeland, which is admirable, but it is nearsighted with the apocalypse around the corner at most times. The Worm would devalue the Pure Lands with the Wind Spirits. Still, they're brave and ferocious and are very good to have on your side.
And the Stargazers can be summarized as we don't know any Stargazers.
Yeah, basically.
We're talking about the Stargazers. Well, we don't know any Stargazers. We don't care about any Stargazers. None of the Stargazers did anything for us.
There seems to be a lot of notes on the different Farah breeds.
Yeah.
However, I've noticed that the information. Well, I'm gonna breeze through them because a lot of it is very sparse, actually. Because they have more to say about the Ahaba, which they call themselves choosers of the slain. And they swore that they were dead. So it says that a demon took the form of a great hyena, which makes up the
Jabba. That's how you say
Jabba. I thought it was a Haba. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, they're not Mexican.
Oh, I'm sorry. And then I don't know. I'm doing the best I can. It's not like a fucking thing where I click on it, it pronounces the word. Anyway, so the Bastet, they say that the Cat Farah have never been close allies to them, but they are very good at learning secrets, even if it's hard to get it out of them. Stop me if any of this is incorrect or if I read it wrong, because the information is very sparse in the book. The Korak...
they like the cats. Like that Panther was in the Rood.
Yeah.
And Panther was a white howler totem who left the day before the White Howlers did the thing.
Oh, well, that was good timing on his part.
Exactly.
Jesus. The Koraks, some of their greatest warriors are female, and their men are incredible at gathering information. Learn what you can from them. The Gural, the Black Furies, are saddened by the passing of the Werebears. Some blame the king for their death. But maybe they aren't all dead. Maybe some of them are just sleeping, like in the Fianna.
Maybe we should talk to Fianna more often.
Probably. The Macaulay. they're never cast in favorable roles within a lot of Greek lore, and they honestly need to make peace with them. The Naga, they used to have strongholds in Egypt with the Silent Striders, but they were very foolish to stay there. Maybe they were all killed during the War of Rage, and they probably should have learned more about them. The Noetia, practical jokers, they never take anything seriously, and they're always pushing people's buttons. The rat...
Can we read the story?
Oh, okay.
The story?
I once saw a man approach a pack of Black Furies and hail them with, "Hey, girls." Of course, they surrounded him menacingly. He didn't flinch. They shoved him a bit. He didn't lose his smile. Finally, one of them asked him what he meant by addressing them so disrespectfully. He just grinned wider and asked if they really were girls, and none of them knew how to answer them. After all, if they said no, they would be denying their sex. If they said yes, they'd look rather foolish. I don't remember any of them answering, but the Noetia just walked on, leaving them confused and frustrated. He literally just pulled a Giga Chat on them, just walked up, just talked some shit, refused to elaborate, and leave.
If you want to put Matt Walsh in your game, make him a Noetia.
Make him a Noetia. He's like, "What is a woman?" Refuses to elaborate, leaves. Jesus. Just dumb as shit, dude. Okay. Yeah, so the Ratkin, they spread disease and misery. And while they understand disease is important for population control, it doesn't lessen the horror of those who've to suffer through it. And don't trust the Ratkin. The Rokea, they never met them. And then on to all the other things. What's up?
Something tells me the freebooters need to learn how to breathe underwater.
More or less. I mean,
There's
they seem really cool.
A lot of things you could talk about with the Rokea. Notice how we went over those breeds. They didn't have a bad thing to say about any Pharaoh except the Ratkin.
Yeah, they don't like the Ratkin.
Yeah.
Anyway. Vampires. They hold dominion over all the cities, and the Black Furies admit it's kind of their fault for scaring people into the cities. And when they became easily defensible, all the vampires took shelter within and then secretly fed on humanity within them. They backhandedly support the humans undoing the natural world for their own game. There seems to be a large number of them in America who travel in packs. Meanwhile, the European vampires are smaller in number but far more powerful. Any Garrow who falls for them must be freed one way or another. If they enslave a Garrow, either free them or kill them. And
well, if they work with the Garrow.
Well, that's going to be a whole other can of worms. We're going to find out later. Mages. Some of them respect Gaia's laws, but not all of them do. Some of them see Gaia's bounty as no more than ingredients or resources. And mages can be very dangerous and ignorant for this reason. Beware of mages. They're powerful, but they don't use it very well. Just be very careful around them.
Something I've noticed with the rhetoric of a lot of second edition, they don't name a lot of other factions by name. No. I think the Bonars come up in I think the Bonars mentioned the Nosferatu by name in 2E, but a lot of individual groups stopped doing that with Werewolf. But that's not the case with Mage, because the Verbena have a good relationship with the Black Furies, who are the pagan wizards of Mage.
Okay.
And to an extent, I could see them getting along with the Order of Hermes, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah. And then we have ghosts. So the spirits of the dead do not always rest easily. The Silent Striders tend to know more about them than anyone else. Try and grant them what they want to find peace, but for some more vicious ones, it may even be possible to kill them twice. And then you have changelings. Not a whole lot to say. Some of them are complete pigs, and some of them are kind of hot. Plan accordingly. That's about all they say about changelings.
Notice what they said. Notice what they said about rites.
About ghosts?
They're talking to rites, dude.
Yes.
There is a gift that allows you to talk to rites in this game as a Black Fury. And you can start doing the job of a Silent Strider.
I was looking through the gifts. I probably missed that one because I was up late doing notes last night.
Yeah. So this camp really can't be anything.
Yes.
Yeah, as long as it's a feminist, it can be anything. And Mapian, are you still with us? We did a lot of talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm notoriously quiet.
All right, let's do rituals. Let's get you back in the game.
Yes.
Uh, so
Okay.
the rituals are the really cool part about the Black Furies. I love all these.
Oh, I kind of came to an opposite conclusion.
Uh,
First, in rituals in general, or for Black Furies anyways, they have three different classifications of rituals.
hmm
They have maiden rites, mother rites, and crone rites.
hmm
So if you want to use a maiden rite, you have to be a maiden, somebody who has not had a child yet. A mother is somebody who has had a child, and a crone is somebody who is now too old to have a child.
hmm
And if you say you're playing a really long game, you can age out of your maiden rights or out of your motherhood rights, and actually lose them.
hmm
The other thing I noticed about the rights is a lot of them have, under the system, there are no game mechanics attached to this.
Yeah. Which is
And
what I kind of do like that because it gives you more an idea of how to role play these out. Because it's not just the role. So you have to decide what that rite's supposed to look like. But you were saying?
Uh, for me, that's a problem because if there's no game mechanics attached to it, how do you really justify spending that point or burning that XP for something that's you could accomplish just by role playing?
It's kind of like
Uh,
having spells to me in D&D that are stuff like pyrotechnics and skyrite. Sure, it's mechanically useless, but you can roleplay with it. And that's what I'm looking at. But I know you're a guy who likes his numbers.
I like my role play too, but I still think that if it's gonna warrant a right, like something that you're actually spending creation points or XP on, it should do something. Even if it's not a combat thing, it should have uh, some sort of in-game effect.
Gotcha.
Because it's like pyrotechnics and skywriting, going back to D&D, do have some sort of in-game effect.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I see
okay,
what you're saying.
so I was advised to pick a right from each of the levels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of thought I would skip the first level because there's not. It's again a lot of these. There's no function to them. Level 2, you got Curse of the Crone, which is obviously a crone rite.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's used on philanderers, rapists, and others who deserve vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
And what it does is it makes a male target infertile and impotent. And then it has an in-game effect where um, it lasts for however many, is it days or weeks?
See, I believe
A
it's
week.
yeah.
Yeah, it's weeks. Um, so if you score like 10 successes, that's 10 weeks of Mr. Limpy. So, um,
Behold, Kyle, you've spent all these months watching joking videos and trying to increase the length of your penis only for a crone to ruin all of it.
Oh, damn it all. I was trying to be a good lover. Fuck. Damn it, and I just got Bacchus as a totem. Now I'm fucking useless to him.
uh, level 3 rights have two
Mm.
that I wanted to touch on. Birth of the Fire Warrior. This is
Mm.
a little bit nuts.
Mhm.
So the in-game effect is you roll your stamina plus primal urge, and if you're successful, you birth the fire warrior. So it takes 10 minutes,
Mhm.
and you give birth to a flaming baby. Except for it's
Mhm.
not a baby, it's an adult-sized warrior.
Mhm.
And successes determine how long it sticks around. It's got some really good combat stats, like four in all your physical stats and com or melee and dodge for. Um, and it burns people who attack it,
Uh, And me
and
being
it
I'm about to.
sticks around.
Is this for what?
Oh, it sticks around until the combat is over. What
Yeah.
were you gonna say?
I'm about to swallow my tongue because I saw the name of who this is summoning, Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's tied to Aztec mythology.
Not just that, Mapian. Did you watch our Shadow Lord video?
I did not.
That's okay. Not that many people did either. Um, but Quetzalcoatl in World of Darkness is a Bali vampire, the Infernalists, the guys who talk to demons. And he disappeared after the conquistadors attacked South America. We don't know where he went. I guess now we do.
Uh, Evidently, fucking
Yeah.
Black Furies can just
So,
birth one.
so he's still alive. And I don't know what condition he's in, but apparently he's moved from talking to just the Balam to the Black Furies too.
So does it say what kind of spirit can teach us right, or is it just that's just something that happens?
Yeah.
It's a ritual, so you learn it from your tribe.
What the fuck,
And
Richard?
and they teach you how to make the fire baby.
That's just fuck, dude. Holy shit. What do you mean these aren't cool? This is awesome, mate.
Uh,
Oh
oh,
my
it's
goodness.
like um, what was an example of a rite that I thought was kind of useless? Um,
Rejuvenate soil.
well, that at least has an in-game effect, even if it's lame. Um, Free the wayward child. This right is only available to Black Fury mothers between the birth of her first child until she no longer bear children, so it's a mother right.
Mhm.
Frees a male Garou child of a Black Fury from any spiritual ties to Pegasus and the Black Furies.
What?
So what? So if a Black Fury gives birth to a boy child, and they're like, well, this child can't be part of the Black Fury tribe, they're going to give it away to the Bonars or Children of Gaia. But theoretically, you would want to free the wayward child first. But why? You don't really need
It
to do that because
X excommunication is what it is.
Yeah, it's just as there's no game mechanics involved with this. Okay, I think I see what you
It,
mean.
it,
Like these are
it it's
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 hit and
just
miss.
spite.
Yeah, that's fucked up, dude. Right's
yeah,
popularity is new as such things go. In the ancient days, a male child was simply left outside to die of exposure. Jesus. Fucking hell.
right. So that's what I mean when I talk about rights that don't have any useful game purpose. Because I
Mhm.
mean, if you're in a heavier RP game, sure you might want to do something like this,
Mhm.
but I still wouldn't spurn a ritual point on learning this particular right because
Mhm.
it doesn't strike me as valuable. Um, okay. And then I was going to talk about finding the scythe.
Mhm.
Now this is a little bit kind of in between. It's a crone ritual, and what it does is um, your perception plus enigma's difficulty is 9. or it's easier to do if it's a mother or a crone of the Black Fury. Oh, actually, no, that's just the
I think somebody
apparent
mistyped
age.
this in because
Yeah, it's
I think there was a typo.
yeah, it says of tribe 0. I think that's supposed to be 10 or 9. I don't know.
Yeah, yes.
yeah. So it's if the target is a maiden, or I guess a young buck, a mother or a father, or 8 or 7 if it's a crone or a grandpa, or whatever. Or maybe it can only be used on women. I don't know. It's unclear on that point.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't
Uh,
specify.
but if you succeed, you describe the manner of death that will befall this guru. So you can see the future and what will kill this werewolf. Um,
Hmm.
and I'm currently playing a Warhammer game on my Monday nights, on which I'm taking the
Ooh,
night off to play or to hang out with you
which
guys instead.
we thank you for.
Appreciate it.
And all humans have the doomed talent, which is kind of a useless talent because it doesn't do anything for you. But if you happen to die and the way in which you die is similar to your dooming,
Hmm.
then you get to come back with bonus XP with your new character. So it
Hmm.
has some in-game effect, but it doesn't help you specifically.
Hmm.
That's kind of neat, actually.
Um,
And would you want a Black Fury to do this with you?
Only if they're
uh,
really good at it.
yeah, now the problem with it, of course, is the GM has no real way of knowing exactly how you're going to die unless they're
Mhm.
planning on offing you and have a very specific way in which you're going to die.
Death by
Um,
Ragnar.
well, yeah, that's a possibility. Um,
Yeah. I'm more worried about Vigo
so,
myself.
so it finishes off the description of the system with, remember, storytellers, vagueness can be a virtue. So it's kind of encouraging you to, yes, you can give somebody a prophetic vision of how they're going to die, but you might want to make it really wishy-washy so that it can apply to lots of different things.
Uh, exactly. The thing I did fortune telling when I was in high school as a little hobby that I started doing like during lunch periods. I actually got a bit of a crowd doing it. And what you want to do is that you want to say something that is in general terms, where it's general enough that somebody can start pushing themselves and their own projections into the fortune and start coming up with their own conclusions. And then they think that you're right when really you didn't really say anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same thing with horoscopes, I guess.
Yeah, because I saw the exact same as a Scorpio, but I'm an Aries. What's
Yeah.
going on?
It's kind of like that one. It's like those Doge memes where it's like, oops, I just ran over that person on the crosswalk. I'm such a Libra.
God. We have we have two level fours. Which one did you go for?
Um, I was just going to mention on Python's trail, it's again a visions of the past and future. So once again, you've got that vagueness coming into play.
Hmm.
But the other right is avenge the innocent, which is uh, it's used to punish humans. Usually, the rights are used on other guru, but it's in this case it's a human. Um, they've committed some sort of crime. Uh,
Like
so they
the
assign a
like
curse.
what we
So
read
it's
in
another curse.
like what we read in the Arrestia.
Okay, so what it does is uh, once you've successfully targeted the perpetrator of this crime, and it does kind of need to be a crime involved because you need like evidence from the crime scene. to enact the rite. The Fury invokes the spirit of Hippogriff to run the criminal's youth away. So the subject gains 1 year per day until his death. So you're gonna die. It's not
no
it's not a
reversing it too.
it's not a pretty death either, because gonna get real old before it.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked. It's just I was watching Cowboy Bebop the other day because I dug out my old DVDs, and that's like
Sympathy
the
for the
fucking
Devil?
Sympathy for the Devil.
Oh, I love the episode.
It's so fucked. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, Heavy Metal Queen is
Now
still off topic. My Heavy Metal Queen's still my favorite episode of Cowboy Bebop, but you know.
Kyle, let's make a bet. I'm going to say that Meepy's going to pick Curse the Household.
Let's see. I think. Well, I only see 2 on the page I'm at, but if I had to say that's the one I'm going, that's the one I bet on.
Okay. Meepy, here's your chance to prove us wrong.
Yeah, I picked Bearing the Current.
And nobody wins.
The house wins. Meepian gets $5. Everybody in chat, PayPal Meep $5.
Yeah, send me that cash. Yeah, so this is sort of a freebooter thing. Once you've found a suitable site, you can actually make a cairn, and that's cool. This is not a restricted rite. Any of the age groups can use it. And the system is pretty lengthy, but basically you kidnap somebody who's bearing a child. Like, so they're pregnant, they're in labor. Could be a kinfolk, could be just a random human, or it could be a lupine, and you center a rite around that target, and as the child is being born, so is the cairn reborn. And they say that the fate of the cairn is tied to the fate of the child for that child's lifetime. So odds are you want to protect the child once it's born.
Yeah, you don't even have to sacrifice Gnosis to fuel the cairn. That's neat.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
it takes a long fucking time.
And the woman that they use for the ritual, by the way, they call her Maya. I posted what she is in the history pages. That's the mother of Hermes. It's a mom god in Greek myth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so actually no, it lasts as long as the labor does. So it could be a pretty short ritual, or it could be a long ritual. But the big thing is the mistress of the rite has to roll Gnosis and get 40 successes. So it's a bit of a risky one, because if you get a short labor and you don't get your rolls, you're gonna botch it.
Yeah, that's very high risk, high reward there.
Yeah, new cairn or nothing.
Yep.
And you notice with these rites, a lot of them involve pregnancy and death.
Well, I mean, yeah, they're the Black Furies. They kill people and they protect women.
Yeah. And I noticed a few of these too. Some of these could be interpreted as wormish if you look at them that way. So what I was saying before about the Black Furies saying we can't stop the worm, we just need to learn how to push the worm away.
Which
I see that. Yeah, I see it with the Black Furies.
Yeah, which rite in particular were you thinking about with that?
The scythe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Because that puts you at peace with the worm, because you know how the worm is going to kill you.
That is interesting, though. Yeah.
And I only have 3 totems to do, so let's do gifts.
Well, I only have 3 gifts that I picked, so...
Alright, well, let's do the gifts. Is one of them Wild Resurgence?
Actually, no, because we've already seen that used. We kind of know how it works already. But
To very quickly explain what Wild Resurgence is, that's your bread and butter gift. You're going to use that as the Black Fury, and you're going to make a tank build. And anytime you take damage, you can tell your Theors to fuck right off. You got Gnosis, you can heal yourself, and boom, you kind of heal yourself for more reliably than Mother's Touch can. Mother's Touch does heal you for more, but Wild Resurgence is very good.
Yes. Okay, so other gifts. There are a couple that I picked. 2 of them are just general Black Furies gifts, and there was one Bacante's gift I wanted to go with. So starting off, I'd like to point out what I'm about to read is a level 2 gift, just a general Black Fury level 2 gift. Kali's Tongue. So in the days of ancient myth, the worm creature, I'm going to butcher this name. Is it Rakabisha or is it Rakutija? How the fuck do I say that name?
Spell it.
Raktabija. Raktabija, I think. Raktabija, I think.
Raktabija, yes.
So Raktabija terrorized the Indian subcontinent. He could not be slain. Every drop of blood that touched the earth sprang up another Raktabija. Soon after the battle against him began, the field was just filled with him. Each one wanted to kill Garo and Gaian spirits. The mother goddess Parvati, who is an aspect of Gaia, finally took to the field against the Raktabisha. In her guise as a hideous demon warrior, Kali spread her tongue out over the battlefield and prevented any of the Raktabisha's blood from hitting the earth. And then she commanded the Garo and gods to destroy the worm creature, which they did. The gift Kali's Tongue removes any creature's ability to heal damage. Its effects are relatively short-term, but if the creature is destroyed while the gift is in effect, the death is permanent. What the mother gives, the mother's vengeance can take away. This gift is taught by a cobra spirit. System. The Fury must first touch the victim, then the player spends 1 rage and rolls manipulation and medicine, difficulty of the foe's rage or willpower -3, whichever is lower. Each success represents 1 turn during which the tangent creature cannot use any regenerative abilities or heal inflicted damage naturally. Even supernatural healing gifts like Mother's Touch will fail on the target during that period. This gift works equally well on humans, Garo, and materialized spirits. Spirits entirely in the Umbra are immune to the gift's effects unless the Fury is also in the spirit world. You can stop an enemy from healing. That is lethally useful against vampires who heal from blood. That's almost as useful as Damn the Heart, and the Black Furies get it at level 2.
Oh, no, Kyle, here's one better. Use this on a drone.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, drones heal like motherfuckers, too. I forgot about that.
Yes.
All right. This next one is a shorter one, but I thought it was kind of neat. This is a crone gift. Bolster the True Name, level 4. So, the crone has no need of a child's rage, and her wills are enough to let her survive the day that Mother's stalwart nature fails her. She can sacrifice her hatred and will to reinvigorate her spiritual connections. This gift is taught by a loon. System. A crone using this gift rolls intelligence and occult with a target of her own permanent gnosis. She spends 1 point of temporary rage and 1 point of temporary willpower and refills her gnosis pool if the roll achieves 2 or more successes. You can basically just oh, I'm out of gnosis? Not anymore. Now I have gnosis again. That is incredibly useful if you're going for a caster build. I sadly can't use that because I am but a Hubble Fianna, but that would be lethally useful if I could do that.
Yeah. Call the Glasswalkers, get a sex change, and then join the Black Furies.
Nah, I don't want to do that. I look too pretty already. Get me none of that one short.
We can make the chronicle about that specifically.
No, we're not giving Tyler sex change. She's already pretty enough.
We can make the Juana man.
No, we're not. Get the fuck out of here. And I wanted to bring this last one up because it is a Bacante's gift, and it's also a level 5 Bacante's gift. Storm of the Mother's Wrath. When the Black Furies take up arms to destroy an enemy of Gaia, they are like a force of nature itself. Should a pack of Bacantes include one with the Storm of Mother's Wrath, they nearly become a force of nature itself. The Fury wielding this gift causes a fearful dark hailstorm to erupt even out of a clear sky. The pack of Bacantes, however, are not inconvenienced by the storm and can move around in a fight without difficulty. Signs of such a hailstorm in the area tend to be a red flag to worm creatures who know that a pack of Furies must be involved in a desperate fight. They may join in or wait to ambush outside of the storm. The Mamatus, a wild spirit of the air, teaches this gift. So the system. Spend a point in Gnosis and roll Stamina and Survival difficulty 7. The storm has a 100-meter diameter and a duration of 1 minute. Every success on the roll extends the storm's diameter by 100 meters and extends the duration by a minute. Physical beings caught within the storm, humans, Garo, Fomori, materialized spirits, take a 3 die penalty to all physical dice pools. The exception to this is the pack of the character responsible for the storm. That group receives no penalty. Humans react to the storm as though faced with delirium. Most will attempt to flee its fury. The storm cannot be generated indoors or underground, and its effects will not penetrate solid walls, though the pelting hail can and does break glass windows. You literally become a force of nature if you reach level 5 as a Bacantes.
Yeah, I think that's why they like Bacchus so much, is because how closely related he is to the wild.
Yes. He just makes a hailstorm.
Yeah.
Love bites and so do the Black Furies.
There's one more on here called Manskin. And what that does is that it disguises a Black Fury as a man.
Oh. That's funny.
And you can be the Black Fury and say, yeah, I just got done peeing standing up, and I watched football and worked on my truck, and I'm definitely one of you guys. Yeehaw!
I need a brewski beer. When's the party when's the kegger at Ken's Mojo Dojo Casa House?
Yeah, you infiltrate the Fianna Mojo Dojo Casa House, and you get all their gifts and steal all their stuff, and then leave.
Yep, basically. Okay, so.
We only have 3 tomes to talk about.
All right.
Let's talk about Pegasus first. We have already given all the lore about Pegasus. I already went on about Pegasus. Let's talk about Pegasus, what he does mechanically. Pegasus is the protector of sacred places, much like the Black Furies it supports. Appearing as a winged horse with fire in its eyes, Pegasus can teach gifts of travel and air to those it chooses. The Galliard have long troubled Pegasus, thanks to the Deceptive Bygone Vision incident, possibly due to the rivalry with the Black Furies, which I just said. As such, Pegasus has yet to accept any pact that counts one of its members as the Galliard. Guess who won't be the Trouble Totem?
Probably not Pegasus.
Yep. Individually, you'll get 2 points of honor renown. As a pack, he will give you 3 dots of animal kin and 3 dots of willpower per story that you can bank on. And Black Furies, if you take this guy as your totem, the Black Furies will fall over themselves to support you in times of need. The ban is a child of Pegasus, can't refuse to help any female of any species, especially the young females. You have to be the active feminist. You have to actively protect women when you follow Pegasus. And there are a ton of totems, but we've spent a long time in this episode, so I would love to go into talk about the muses, and I would love to talk about every Gorgon. But there are 5 Gorgons and 9 muses to talk about individually.
Okay.
Yeah, so we don't have time for that, so I am just going to do Medusa. Alright, Medusa is only older than Ismin. She is the second youngest of 5 sisters, and her rage is no less frightening to behold. Medusa's hatred of man is only exceeded by Isthmene's. It is said that she howled a song of rage when Pegasus adopted the first male menace of the Black Fury tribe. Yeah, imagine talking to your mom about that one.
Yeah.
And that she abandoned her sisters for several years after that. Medusa known by the poet Hesiod as the Queen, was a Galliard in her life, and her song remains beautiful. Many of them serve as battlefield rites of their own. Medusa has once again left her sisters, whether willingly or due to a spat with Helena. We figured out why it is. While most Furies all assume that Medusa has no packs to call her own anymore, the truth is that perhaps one or two of her packs has heard her distant calls and will receive some inspiration from far away. That is the case because you still have guys who can follow Turtle of the Croton as a totem.
Yes.
And traits, Medusa will give you the gift of inspiration. We can talk about that later because that's a general gift. You'll get 3 dice pools involving crafts and 1 honor renown. The whole as you build all the fun weapons as you MacGyver your way into combat. The ban. Medusa's packs may contain neither members of any tribe other than Black Furies, nor even the male Black Fury members. You need to be a natural-born woman Black Fury to be part of Medusa's pack.
So Medusa's
That's
a
a
turf.
Yes. Given her experience with Poseidon, I think it's going to be another couple centuries before she changes her mind about anything.
Yeah, probably. Once she gets out the Umbra, then yeah.
And next up is Panther. You ready for this? The reason why Panther is part of this group is because Panthers in neo-paganism are a sign of dark feminine energy, which is why we have a Balaam spirit in the Black Furies. Granted, he was with the White Howlers, but a couple Balaam of the Bastet also follow Panther. And Panther is a rare totem for Geru. Like I said, most of them are Balaam, but a few packs of the freebooters, Bacchantes, and Amazons will take him. But, it's the exception, not the rule.
Mm-hmm.
Traits, Panther gives her children the gift Eyes of the Cat. Guess what that does? And reduces the difficulty of all rolls involving stealth, grace, or balance by 2. Many Red Talons and Gethfenris despise Panther, primarily due to their distrust of the Bastet. The Bastet consider Panther packs kindred spirits and may call upon their sisters in times of need. In particular, rare circumstances, they may come to a Panther's pack assistance. So, this is why the Black Furies have a good relationship with the Balaam and the Amazon. And it's because of Panther. Because Panther is the liaison. The Balaam are the Were-Jaguar, who are probably stronger physically than the Gethfenris, and that's saying a lot. I think the one guy who is stronger than the Jaguars are the Khans, who are Were-Tigers. But the Balaam are incredibly antisocial, and all of them want to hunt in blow, so that's why they don't have that much territory. And having the Balaam working with the Black Furies, that is a very good ally to have, because if you have a Gethfenris who is in your face as a Black Fury, just snap your fingers, call your Balaam friend, and then just watch the blood sprinkle across the battlefield as the Balaam tears into him.
Oh yeah, just fuck him up.
But the ban is funny. I think this is just like a joke ban. Panther must aid felines in distress, be they house cats stuck in trees, or a Bastet beset by worm creatures.
That's hilarious. Oh man, it's like cat stuck in a tree. Wait, I got it. Hang on.
There's a kitty, I gotta help him.
Where's the gif of Mr. Credible shaking the cat out of the tree?
There's a fight in Chainsaw Man where Denji's fighting the cockroach devil, and the cockroach devil says, I'm going to kill this elderly couple, I'm going to kill this bus full of people. You can only save one, I'm going to watch your face of despair as I kill one of them. And Denji accepts neither of them, and instead climbs a tree and gets a cat from a tree and saves that instead.
Fucking love Denji. He's such an idiot.
And we would like to talk about one more spirit who is not part of the Black Furies officially, but because of the Bacchantes and how much we love the Bacchantes, we're going to say it. Bacchus.
My boy.
Yep. Oh, is he your boy or are you his?
Both.
Yes. Though much older than the ancient Romans, this ancient Incarna, keep that in mind, this guy's an Incarna spirit, this guy's strong as hell, of intoxication, sex, and fertility has been dubbed with the name Bacchus ever since, and does not object. Always known as a mad wanderer, he has traded favors with the Black Furies as a fertility god, and has blessed the brews of Fianna, and in days he has given innumerable narcotics to the young glassworkers. Those who see Bacchus only as a reveler miss the darker mysteries into which he inducts his children, all with a terrible rage that he can bring upon those who deny him. What's more, those silent striders interested in the Dark Umbra often see the once dead Bacchus as a guide. So Bacchus, from what I think, because this guy is brought up a little bit in the Euthantos book, this guy used to be an incarnation of Shiva. I think this guy was a Euthantos from way back when, who died, and thanks to mage magic, if a human is incredibly powerful, they become a totem when they die. I think that's what happened with Bacchus. And then, after his death, he became worshipped as a god as Dionysus and Bacchus. He's gone by many other names under many other fertility gods, which is why he is so outrageously powerful.
You got a lot of veneration.
Traits. Bacchus immerses his children in the mysteries of life and death, giving them +3 to occult and +2 to enigmas. These are far from trivial, as he prepares them for the shocks that they will face by giving each of his children +1 stamina. That is the most important stat in the game. You can't dump that. That is always good to have more stamina.
Absolutely.
Finally, Bacchus is wise but furious with his anger. You may draw upon 3 extra rage points per story. You want a little extra rage, you can get that from Bacchus.
Cool.
And what's really... his ban. Those who follow Bacchus tend to be strongly connected with their base natures. If a character has a chance to strongly indulge in a felt desire, they must succeed a willpower roll, difficulty against their own permanent rage rating, to do otherwise.
Roll willpower to not have sex. Gotcha.
Yes. And I've also seen this in Storyteller's Guide 3, where it said it's a -2 to resist those instead. So, if you are face to face with a Toreador or a Ventru who uses presence or dominate on you.
Yeah, we might be a little fucked, fellas.
See how fun that is. And you guys are due to meet Jan Petersoon soon in the game, and I am very excited for the encounter.
Yeah, who's that fat Shadow Lord that we were talking to? We might need him around.
Wrath of the Storm.
Oh yeah, we're gonna probably need to talk to him later.
And closing thoughts, the way you can combine the games. Mage, Verbena. They like the Verbena mages. Team up with the Verbena mages. It only makes sense. As deeply tied into paganism and neo-paganism as they are, there's no reason why they're not talking to the Verbena. Also, the Cult of Ecstasy, also known as the Sahagia, given that these Black Furies love drugs and love alcohol, especially in the Bacchantes. So, yes, hook them up with the Church of the Cult of Ecstasy. Merciful Mothers, I see no reason why they would not be talking to the Celestial Chorus, given that they like Catholicism, and guess who is in the Celestial Chorus?
I couldn't tell you.
Those are mages that get their power from God.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
The all caps God. And finally, the Order of Hermes, where I believe that the Order of Hermes would work as a friend of the Black Furies, considering that a lot of the Black Furies are all about epistemology and getting to the root of an issue, where I totally see them teaming up with the Hermetics, because while the Hermetics were more in the Middle East, a lot of their teachings have passed over and have become very synonymous with occult and neo-pagan teachings. So I can see the Order of Hermes and the Black Furies talking. In terms of vampires, Well, here's an interesting thing. We haven't done a vampire versus werewolf clan in a little while.
Yeah, we haven't.
So, so here is a perfect group to put the Black Furies up against. The Nosferatu.
Really? Why the
Yeah,
Nosferatu?
because the Nosferatu had the Cleopatras. Women that used to be beautiful, but then were forcibly turned into Nosferatu by a vengeful sire that have now turned into the beast that you see before you. And that sounds kind of similar. It's not the same, but it's kind of similar to the Pegasus story. So you put the Black Furies up against an enemy that they can sympathize with.
That honestly would be a neat story now that you mention that. See, I didn't think about that at all. Like I'm trying to
Like
think
we
of
can,
something, but I'm struggle busting on this one.
and then the more obvious answer would have been the Toreador.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
And also with that Huitzilopochtli, maybe get a Bali connection going here.
some demon the fallen in there.
Given that they're talking to the one and only good Bali, debatable with Huitzilopochtli, but I swear he was a good guy. Given that one of his rites directly invokes him, yes, get some Bali in this.
Hashtag Huitzilopochtli did nothing wrong.
Wraith the Oblivion. Same thing we said with the Silent Striders, where meeting a Silent Strider is an in-game goal for Wraith or Orpheus if you want to play the updated version. Meeting a Black Fury could also work too, because some Black Furies can see and speak to Wraiths. And a Black Fury, if they see that you are a woman ghost, they would be more than happy to help you. If you're a man, you can get fucked.
Yeah, basically. That's what I'm thinking.
And then changelings, well, given that the satyr is a changeling in Changeling the Dreaming, I don't think I need to explain myself for that one.
Yeah, I think I see where you're going with that.
Exactly.
Oh boy.
And of course, you have Hunter the Reckoning and Demon the Fallen. I'm kind of drawing blanks for, but Hunter the Reckoning, I can see you doing a game like Kyle. You've seen The Departed, right?
Yeah, I have seen The Departed. Yes.
You have a Departed where it's an Order of the Merciful Mother Black Fury who is rubbing shoulders with a Church of Saint Leopold Hunter, and they're both trying to figure out and expose each other before the other one can.
Yeah, that would be actually kind of neat. I like that.
And that's it. Do we have any closing thoughts?
So we brought up earlier that the one of the tribal flaw was in fact their inability to see men as equal. When we said in the lore that Mother Gaia came from it came
The
from the
wild.
wild of man and the fertile ground of Mother Gaia in order to make a world worth living and protecting. And though the Black Furies claim that the wild is indeed that all three, the worm, the wild, and the weaver, are all female. I mean, the contacting the spirits should be able to prove something to that to contrary to that, because if it's that deep in the lore and they're trying to change it up for their own ideology, I feel like they're losing sight of the fight with, like, a lot of the other tribes that we've read so far have had a similar issue with the Black Furies, is that they focus too much on just men in general as opposed to fighting the worm. Meanwhile, a lot of Black Furies blame a lot of the worm's rage on men in general. And I feel like some refocusing needs to be in effect on that. It's like you are
That's
fighting the
also
worm.
that's also like a meta commentary on feminism as it is now, because we're about to go into fourth wave feminism.
I don't even know what they're trying
Because,
to do with that.
well, that question, what is a woman? That's now being analyzed in a postmodern perspective, where now just being a woman, if we advance science far enough, does biological sex matter?
Yeah, that is about where we're going. So
Yeah.
we shall
And I'm
see.
going to say we need Black Furies now more than ever.
Yeah.
Meepy, any thoughts from you?
Um, Not really. I kind of go back to my character and say, well, because I'm a Ragabash as well as a Black Fury, I I question a lot of the Black Fury hard set rules, which is the role of the Ragabash. I tend to be more of a moderate feminist,
Mm-hmm.
which again is appropriate, I think, to both the Bacchantes and a Ragabash.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but also being a hardcore second wave feminist would make it very difficult to be part of the pack,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
since everybody else is a male.
And
So
given that sexual expression is a thing in third wave feminism, and
yeah.
one more question I'd like to end the episode on: why did you pick Black Fury? We brought that up in the W5, but like a whole like formal like what drew you to the Black Furies?
I like characters that are sort of they turn things on their head. So uh, in a way, this is kind of like my gnomish strength-based warrior who is
Mhm.
tiny, cute, and hammered things.
Mhm.
Um, Elmira is tiny, cute, and hammers things. So
Mhm.
in a way, I'm playing a very similar character in terms of how she flips the script, but a very different character in that she's also very uh, intellectual, whereas Elmira was not, or
Mhm.
El Masiva.
Yep. Uh,
Because for context for everybody listening, when I first met Meepian, it was in a D&D game that I ran where he played El Masiva, who was a 3 foot tall rock gnome, who was a championed fighter, who I believe in the events of the game, it was 2 years ago, that you landed the killing blow on Orcus, Yinogu, and eventually the incarnation of Lolth with that character.
I killed a lot of things, yeah.
And you were dealing so much DPS because you built a character that was made to hit crits as soon as possible.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't
And
bother classing with Barbarian or anything like that. I just straight up champion all the way.
yeah, the more rolls I get, the better, the more damage I deal. Easy as that.
Yep.
I can't miss if
And
I just keep rolling.
and now that we've done the episode, now that we've showed you the book, do you feel that you've learned more about the tribe?
Oh, definitely.
Mhm.
Um, this might affect my play a little bit,
Mhm.
although like my character is pretty set in stone, so I wouldn't think too terribly much. But at least I have a
Mhm.
better basis for what my character is for and what she's against.
Oh, I'm gonna get
And
the
if
shit
I,
kicked out me.
well, why do you always wind up as the comic relief character in our games?
That's just who I am. You heard how many fucking idiot jokes I've made during this episode.
Well, they weren't worse than mine.
Yes, but I still do that all the time. Like, well, I mean, I don't know. Cole wasn't really a comic relief character in Vampire. In fact, he kind of brooded a lot. He's
Nah, his whole character is that he got cucked by the Camarilla and Anarchs.
not really cucked. I mean, his wife's still alive.
Yeah. Thank you, Tremere.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? Hey, he's managed to carve out a good life for himself. I wanted to play Tyler because, like, not only did I resonate with the Fianna, I was also watching a lot of my characters are influenced by films that I watch, and because I was watching a lot of Guy Ritchie films, I watched Snatch. I was watching Fight Club at the time. I really like Brad Pitt as an actor, and I really loved him as Mickey in Snatch. Because Sean, you hear
Hmm.
me and Sean talk about that all the time, and that's why I
Yes.
wound up kind of making it. I named him Tyler because of Tyler Durden from Fight Club, and I really wanted to make just a fighting Irishman is what I did. But
And
the
and
fact
if
that he was a Midas as well, sort of just kind of made him reaffirm up his cocksure nature.
And if I can take a guess about Meepian, I think you kind of like the whole Red Sonja type.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Kind of like the
played a
whole.
Conan game where my character was very much a Red Sonja.
Mhm.
Her name was Sinilda the Top Heavy, though.
Uh,
I had quite an interesting character icon for that.
yes.
I can imagine, yes.
Yeah.
Take the boob slider,
And
slide it all the way to the right.
it's like playing Saints Row.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And thinking about this game, I'm wind up being the forever storyteller. And I've thought of concepts for characters, and once or twice the idea of being a Black Fury has come across my head. Not the Mel Metis version, but the full-blown woman Black Fury.
Yeah, I think, yes,
Uh,
you're going to make one eventually. You're going to make one soon.
Yes. Typically, I play men in my games when I'm a player, but I did have a good time with one character because I made a Shatter Kai in D&D Azora Illawarra, and that was a Oathbreaker Paladin, and I had a very fun time playing as her. And I've never really used her again because typically when I do characters, it's one and done. But going through the whole deal of the Black Fury and the reason why I love the Red Talon so much is because it puts you in a headspace that is not the normal for you because you're a wolf in nature. But for the Black Furies, it's feminism for a sex that I don't belong to and I never will. And getting myself in headspace of a Black Fury sounds interesting to me because it's a philosophy that I don't fully understand, and I feel like I could learn something if I did so.
So you really like building characters that might not necessarily be relatable, but at the end of the day are very interesting to witness.
Where ultimately, if I'm playing as a player character, I want to experiment with the character.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is why I've grown so heavily attached to Yan in the Tuesday game I play.
Yeah, in your 5e game.
Yeah, playing a character who's a military deserter.
Yeah, so.
And that's it.
Yeah.
This is the longest episode we've ever made.
We said that 3 times already because they keep getting longer.
Yeah, it's going to keep getting longer. Get ready for the
Yeah,
Red Talons episode next
actually,
week.
no, I think you're right. We're at 3 hours and 20 minutes.
We will find a way to go on for 4 hours with the Red Talons.
I'm sure you will, because I know you love the shit out the Red Talons.
And Meepian, thank you so much for coming out with us
Yes,
tonight.
thank you very much for being here. Appreciate your input. Appreciate you being here.
That
No
perspective,
problem.
yeah.
All right.
I enjoyed myself.
All right, well,
All
we'll see
right,
you on
thank you.
Thursday for our next Werewolf game, I think.
Yeah, it will be Werewolf.
Yay. All right. Good night, fellas.
Good night.
GN.